Four more. Let's see. What do we? Not sure why YouTube? Something's up with YouTube. Yeah. Says we're live. Something breaking. Something going on right now that doesn't seem right. But okay, whatever. It sat there and was just kind of spinning, like wasn't trying to do its thing. But all right, it looks like we're okay now. One refresh to find out, and there we go. All right, cool. We are good. It is on YouTube. All right. There we go. Should be fine. Might take a little while for people to show up, but that's okay. It is what it is. And get ready to go. We've got 1 minute. 1 minute, which means, of course, what's up, Fred? Sightings on 18 Wheels. We got Minka. Thanks for showing up, guys. We had a little bit of hiccup with YouTube there. It was almost about to not stream on YouTube for some reason. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thanks. You guys hear me? I'm glad. That's definitely good. You can be part of the show that way, and you can find the phone number and the Discord link at troubledminds.org. That's the official website, troubledminds.org, and there you go. There you go. Have some issues on YouTube. That something's broken on YouTube here this tonight. So understand if you guys, they say they have. I think we have Penny Bunny is on deck here. Okay, and what this actually means, if you end up. Many of you have heard of this, okay? This kind of goes back to this string theory a little bit. So we'll get into string theory and some of these other things that explain maybe what this Mandela effect is. But let's start with that. Let's just start with this Mandela effect, and we have this, right? This is from verywellmind.com, and as always, I'm going to link my sources, and you guys can follow along if you prefer. I'd like you to double check my sources and all the rest of that, so you can find where I got this information from and where this where kind of what spawned the conversation. So here we go, dropping all this in the chat links, and here we go. So the Mandela effect refers to a situation in which a large mass of people believes that an event occurred when it did not. Looking at the origin of the Mandela effect, kind of having the same misremembrance of a particular situation or a particular thing or a particular product or any of the rest of this stuff, it ends up becoming peculiar, right? It turns into, instead of just an oops of the memory, into something that seems a little bit more interesting, a little bit more like something's really going on. Like we've talked about in the past, they've actually said that, a mass hallucination, right, it can be responsible for a UFO, right, which kind of came from Project Blue Book. We talk about UFOs all the time on this show, but kind of the mass hallucination effect, where they try and describe it away as people misremembering together, right? Which seems, I don't know, like, call me skeptical, I guess, but that seems silly to me. That suddenly we have no reason whatsoever to actually say that these people misremembered the same thing, all in a large group. But we have these situations that happen, and here we are, kind of thinking about it, talking about it, and wondering what's going on. And so of course, like what actually causes this? Why is this a thing? And we're going to get into some of that tonight, and that's what's going on. So what we're doing tonight, the question is this, right? So how do we have things that are misremembered, and not just by individuals, in groups of people, like large groups of people all misremember the same thing? And we have tons of examples. We'll talk about them as we go. But Nelson Mandela is one. People believe erroneously that he passed away in prison in the 80s, the late 80s, I believe it was the memory, okay? But Nelson Mandela, in fact, did not pass away in prison. He lived until 2013, I believe was the date. And that's a little bit strange that people are remembering history together in a group in the same incorrect fashion. You see, it becomes problematic once you start having mass memories that are different or wrong. Yeah. So I don't know what's going on, guys. Just FYI, I know you guys are out there on YouTube wondering what the heck. There's something up with YouTube right now. So I do not know. We're streaming there. I'm told it's buffering and there's a huge mess and all the rest of this stuff. But I don't know. I don't know what's happening with YouTube right now. But Fringe.fm should be working. Go there and press play. I think TalkStream Live. You can also find us there. Press play on TalkStream Live under the Fringe FM. You can also go to D Live and Facebook, and we're streaming live there. So a couple of options if you guys are stuck on YouTube and wondering what's going on. That's part of it. Part of what we're doing. Part of what we're talking about tonight. So that's it. Now here's the thing. I'll go through some of these examples, and we'll just I'll throw some out to kind of start and get our appetite whet for the what's going on for the rest of the show tonight. But that's really what's on deck, and I'd love to hear your stories. Is there anything that you have maybe misremembered, and or let's say you remember it fully and you're sure of it, but then you go look it up, and for instance, it's no longer the same thing. It's different. And we got some examples. I'll pull some of those up when we talk about it. But if anybody has any remembrances or misremembrances or any of the rest of this and the Mandela Effect, I'd love to hear from you tonight. So I'm going to read the phone number again. Troubledminds.org is the official website. You can find the phone number and the Discord link there. And that phone number is 702-957-1037. Again, that's 702-957-1037. And there we go. So that's what we're going to get started with. Again, we'll have Penny Bunny from YouTube, the Curious Bunny YouTube channel, coming on a little bit later. And we'll have Joe going to share some of his experiences a little bit later too. But before we do any of that, we're going to lay the groundwork here, the framework of what this discussion is and why people believe these things. It's just a little bit strange, and we'll get to that as we go here. All right, so let's start with just a couple examples, right? So the original example here is, of course, Nelson Mandela, right? Nelson Mandela. Now, he was, again, I said that three times. Now, there's a few, right? There's a few here. Anybody ever heard of the Berenstain Bears? The Berenstain Bears, right? It's an old cartoon or storybooks that they used to actually have, right? I guess it's still, it's been forgive me, but it's been a long time since I've actually read anything from the Berenstain Bears. But apparently there's a spelling, right? There's a spelling of the Berenstain Bears, that it's incorrect. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Today, everywhere you look, you see the Berenstain Bears, Berenstain, the Berenstain Bears, and that's spelt that way, AIN. Many people, however, are insistent that it was originally spelt Berenstein, STEIN. So we have another mass memory discrepancy effect to consider. And I think this is one of the ones that actually gets me. And I'm not positive, but if again, Berenstain Bears is it's like a storybook. I used to have these books when I was a kid. Many of us did. And how was it spelled? And, if you close your eyes and you think about it, to me, it was spelled STEIN, all right, the Berenstain Bears. And we even said it that way. But if you go and you look it up today and you see what this actually is, it's not at all. It's the Berenstain Bears, STAIN. And I linked that as well if you guys want to check it out. But it's just little weird discrepancies like this where we remember they exist. It's not like they kind of were conjured from another dimension or something. But it's bears, you see. And so this is not just the Mandela effect, but what they're calling a misremembrance. They actually changed the spelling on us, and that's why we have this mass misremembrance of something so simple as a spelling. Or is it a little more different than that? I think that's really the question here. Matt, if you got a photograph, I'd love to see it. But that's the thing, right? It's a case of a mass misremembrance of something, and in this case, like I said, it's just as simple as a misspelling, right? But there's more. There's a ton here. So here we go. Let's go to what this started with. This is again Nelson Mandela, and he died in a prison in the 80s, but no, he actually died in 2013, and that's kind of what made this a thing. This really is what made this, the Mandela Effect thing, people believing this in particular and not really, or just misremembering together. So again, hundreds and hundreds of examples on this website. This is alternatememories.com and the Mandela Effect list. They have the top 500 list. It's crazy. How about, there you go. Sherry says, Sketcher, the shoe names. Is it Sketcher or just with the R, right? Did they just change that? There's a ton of these. How about Star Wars? Everybody knows Star Wars, right? Here's another one. I'm going to put this on the screen. You guys can see this and follow along. How about this? Right? Everybody remembers, spoiler alert on a, 40-year-old film now. But this is from Empire Strikes Back, the infamous scene where Luke is told by Darth Vader that he is his father, right? All right. Well, what was the actual quote? Did he say, Luke, I am your father? Is that how you remember it? Close your eyes and think really hard. Was that the quote? Is that what Darth Vader told Luke Skywalker that dreary day in Bespin when they had the lightsaber battle? Is that the actual quote? Luke, I am your father. Is that what he said? If you remember it that way, well, you would be incorrect, because you go back and you watch it, and the quote is actually, no, I am your father, right? And this is the type of thing, right? People misremembering in mass together. And so some of these, I'll throw them out there before I tell you the answer, because it's a little more fun to think about them yourself and try to basically see if you remember correctly or incorrectly, or if something actually is going on or going different or going wrong with, let's call it the timeline that we're living in, right? And that's where we get into what is known as string theory, which we're going to talk about tonight, and what causes this. What causes this mass misremembrance type effect? And, it's one thing if, let's say just a bunch of people just don't know their history. That's fine, right? They recall it poorly. That's fine, right? No problem. But what happens when masses of people misremember the exact same thing? Now, there's all kinds of theories with this. Of course, one being that string theory. And these timelines crisscross back and forth. And depending on where you are and where you were and where you're going and where we're all going, that maybe these things were true. And your memory and the mass memory together actually holds true. However, as the timelines flip-flop and change around, which again we'll get to with the actual string theory, we'll get to that tonight and talk a little bit about that. Like I said, we'll have Penny Bunny on with us in a little bit. We got Joe from Florida going to be calling in tonight. But that's the deal, right? Is it what do you remember about some of these things that we'll bring up and we'll talk about? And do you believe that there is sort of this convergence of timelines that crisscross back and forth to and fro? And things that may have been true, when you were a child, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago, depending on how old you are, that those things are actually just not true anymore. And they may have been true at some point, right? One of those definite mind screw things when you sit there and you think about the world we live in and the rest of this stuff, it definitely, I guess it would put I guess this is something to kind of take to philosophy class and worse, and physics class, and mix all three together, and that's what you get. You get a conversation like this. So that's what's on deck tonight. We've got Penny Bunny on the way. She'll be on the show shortly. We've got Joe from Florida going to call us and tell us about his experiences with this sort of glitch in the matrix effect, with this misremembrance, mass misremembrance actually, known as the Mandela Effect. That's what we're talking about tonight. That's what's going on. Again, love to hear from you guys and hear your stories, whether you think this is true or just a bunch of, I don't know. We're just yanking our own chains at some point, right? I'm open to all those possibilities. If you want to be part of the show, love to hear from you. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Mike. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after the break. Oops. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And tonight, we are talking about misremembering things, but not just on an individual basis. How is it that multiple groups of people misremember the exact same memory? Is there something to that? String theory, multiple universes colliding, crisscrossing, and all the rest of these things? That's what we're talking about tonight. That's what's on deck, and we'd love to hear from you. As always, if you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We also have a Discord server running, which is fantastic. It's a chat and a voice client, and you can find the phone number and the Discord link at troubledminds.org. That's the official website of the show. Let's go to we got John in John from Facebook jail, but it appears he's out of Facebook jail. So congratulations, John. We're going to go to John on Discord. And what's up, John? John, you're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend?
Not bad, sir. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. Doing good. What do you think about this Mandela Effect stuff? Do you think there's anything to this, or is it just one of those mass media tricks of the internet age where they edit things in real time and try and basically make us doubt ourselves? I don't know. Kind of a lot to think about here, eh?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But one thing I do know is if you're giving a speech in front of a lot of people and you say something incorrect, we're not necessarily trained to stand up, interrupt a person's speech and say, hey, I don't think that's true. What we are trained to do is to listen to that person, believe they are informed over the subject that they're talking about, and usually go along with it. So if someone were to stand up and say, hey, he's not dead, how many people would have been like, no, he is dead? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. So basically, sort of like the internet effect. It's like, let's say you get a very popular website and it says something incorrect, all right? And it may not be malicious like, Fox News or CNN, just to throw a couple out there, but it may be just a mistaken thing, but it's a very popular website. And so a lot of people have seen it and read something that was unclear or erroneous, and maybe that's the thing, right? Maybe in this age of this mass media, the hyper realism and all this stuff, is that just like you said, we're not going to send letters to the editor to correct these things. It's a little easier for us to be malleable with our brain and believe them, or maybe just not go double check, because just like you said, who's going to fact check the middle of a speech or every website you find or every story you read? I guess that makes a lot of sense on why this may be a thing, and it just doesn't seem. I don't know. I think that's a very fantastic explanation for maybe why this is happening, but please elaborate. Continue, my friend.
I think it even predates technology, because if you look at how the modern church has changed, I'm a religious guy, so that's kind of where I go in the beginning. I promise I'm not going to Bible bash for anyone that's not. I'm just going to cite this example. There's a reason why we have so many different denominations of religions. It's because at some point after religion was formed, someone said, no, I read it this way, and convinced another group of people that it was the same. And when they grow up in that situation, we look to the one person who is confident to give the answers, not the one that's correct. So through our whole history, we've always looked to the most confident speaker, not the most intelligent speaker, if that makes sense.
Yeah, right. When you say something, just make sure you say it with some pizzazz, with some enthusiasm. Make sure it sounds like you're right. Yeah, I think that makes some sense. And so you get all these people believing all these different variations of the same story, really. I mean, because, the Bible is the Bible, isn't it? I mean, there's translations that go, dozens of different ways, languages, and all these other things. But yeah, the different actual sects, sects, that sect of religion is just maybe misinterpretations of people, kind of beating their chest and howling at the moon, right? Maybe I think that makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, and the best example I can give, if you ask like an evangelical Christian, do Muslims believe in Jesus? They would say no. But in the Quran, they specifically mention the virgin birth of Mary and Jesus as a prophet. He's acknowledged in the Quran. But Christians won't believe that in this modern age because when you look up to it, they've been trained to not like them. You see what I'm saying? So there's always that situation where the person that is speaking is more respected than the person that's sitting being spoken to.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you would expect and hope that somebody's talking, they have something to say, right? I mean, I would hope that that's a decent expectation, but I think we know better at this point.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, okay, fantastic. So that's actually a very good example there of why maybe this happens. Do you think there's any other actual shenanigans going on? Kind of like I said, where people like to go with some of these thought experiments is these universes crisscrossing, or this string theory, or some of these other things, or who knows? Maybe it could be mass brainwashing in some capacity these days. It's impossible to really tell, right? But you tell me. Do you think there's anything else other than just that kind of basic explanation? I think you're spot on with that, but do you think it's only that?
Oh no, it's much deeper. And here's my examples why. You can go on YouTube right now and look up body positions and mirroring and matching specifically of how someone's sitting or standing to make a more influential presence with them. So brainwashing is me being able to convince your brain, not so much you, this is how this needs to happen. And if I know how to trigger your brain in a way where it's receptive to the information that I am specifically giving you, and I put you next to something that's probably not going to reward you in the same, not so much like visual stimulation, but brainwave stimulation, you are more likely to pick the person that stimulates your brain. So yes, it's definitely a brainwashing technique. We do mirroring and matching. We do speech recognition. We do, different fluctuations in voice, and there's speaking patterns that people use. And this is all just look up how to give a good speech. If you give a good speech, you're looking up ways that are proven that people have given speeches what people like. So we have studied what people like enough to be able to influence them to like what we have to say. And it's not even on the topic, it's on how we present ourselves. So that to me is brainwashing. And if we compare that with an influential role in front of people and add in the fact that peer pressure will prevent anyone from saying no because it's impolite to interrupt the speaker, I've created this perfect situation where people can now be told something, know that it's wrong, cognitive dissonance, and still go ahead with it because no one else is going to resist it, even though that other person knows it's incorrect, but is also not willing to step up and say it's wrong.
So you're actually saying that this could be a nefarious psychological trick. And
100%.
And the people that are kind of perpetrating these things they know they're doing this. Like, you could probably point to any cult in the world. I'm not going to pick one because, well, I don't want to get sued. But you know what I'm saying, right? You could basically kind of go to, they call it the cult of personality, right? That sort of thing, where it's not really about the factuality of the situation. It's more about kind of training the population, bending their will and their perceptions. Yeah, that makes sense, man. That makes a ton of sense. So I think right there is just one of the more basic ways. I think this is part of what this show's about anyway. So you're spot on and in the right place. So we're talking about like a mass brainwash situation, and it's coming from all angles. It's not even coming from a particular source, that we can point to. We could say, the technocrats or Amazon or Google or whatever it happens to be, Twitter, but Sure, it's coming from those places, but it's also coming from smaller sources, right? All over the place. It's like this constant battle of brainwash between the big guys, the little guys, and everybody in between. And I think that's what you're getting at. And if that's the case, I think we have more reason to be terrified.
Sure. Well, we saw last year. What's the quickest way to get information into someone's head? Repetition. It's always repetition. The more I can repeat something and instill that, make that visually stimulating, and just have it replay, I'm going to get that message in your head. It may take longer than if you do it with your hands, but the repetition will gain entry because we're creatures of habits. So it was great when you could like Biden, you could hate Biden. I don't really care because we're kind of hosed anyways. But he said, and I'll put a link of his description down here on a news source. Well, you see, he just kept repeating stuff over and over, and that's how these right wingers. Sorry, I can't talk. Anyways, these right wingers were able to be brainwashed so easily, and I was like, okay, so he just admitted that the government repeats things on repetition just to get messages into people's head. It blew my mind.
And he's doing the exact same thing. I think that's the best part, right? That's the best part about all this is the people that are responsible for this mostly they duck and dodge. They won't take responsibility for any of this. And again, that's part of what Troubled Minds is about, right? We look at the media, we look at all those things, man. Definitely good stuff. We got to keep on trucking here. Anything else while we got you on the phone?
Yeah, just remember, the more focus they put on one subject, the more that's how much they want you to focus on that subject instead of what's really going on.
And that is a fact. And I think right now, I haven't turned on CNN or Fox in a couple days, but I'm pretty sure if you turn on Fox right now, they're talking about the border crisis. If you turn on CNN, they're still talking about January 6th. I'll bet you those things are probably still true because they don't know how to drop a damn narrative, right? They just can't. Brainwashing, repetition, brainwashing, repetition. Sick. It's a sick world we live in, my man.
Not a single one of them talking about 200 Chinese Navy vessels off the coast of the Philippines.
No, of course not. Of course not. Because, well, that's where the real stuff is going down. Yeah, crazy stuff. John, you were the best. Are you out of Facebook jail? Is it official?
No, I have 90 days.
90 days. All right. So I'm sorry again that you wasted your one phone call today on us, but I appreciate it a lot. We'll talk to you soon, John.
Have a good one, man.
Thanks, man. You too. There you go. You guys want to be part of the show? Simple as that. John was on Discord. You can be part of the show by dialing this phone number 702-957-1037. And troubledminds.org is the official website. Phone number's on the top. Discord link is on the top. That was John calling from Facebook jail. Thanks, John. So what we're talking about tonight is the Mandela Effect, okay? And these mass remembrances. And it's one thing if you misremember, but then in groups of people, kind of like John said, we're fighting this massive wave of brainwash, right? And everybody's trying to control the narrative and tell you what to think and all the rest of this stuff, right? And of course, like I said in the beginning when we first started, is that it's all division all the time. And the powers that be are not satisfied unless we hate each other, and I strongly disagree. I think the power belongs to us, and we need to step up and not be fooled by their rhetoric and by their garbage and their lefty righty stuff and all the stuff they try and shove down our throats. So that was a great call. Good stuff to kind of maybe frame this in a brainwash way, which I hadn't even really considered because I was kind of going a little bit more with the woo-woo stuff, right? The possibility of string theory and the multiple timelines and all the rest of this. But so we're talking the Mandela Effect tonight, guys, and that glitch in the Matrix feeling how maybe in 1984 they had the Ministry of Truth. And what they did is they actually redacted information and created new versions of these events, okay? And they would take the old information and they would throw it into what was called a memory hole. And this is from George Orwell's 1984. And once something went into the memory hole, it never came back. It was gone. It was deleted from history. And the new version was rewritten. And every time I think about that, I cannot help but think of, Wikipedia, and really consider that as the Ministry of Truth. And maybe the people meddling with historical references and the way you frame things. That's a good way to put this. I think that's a good way to really kind of frame the Mandela effect, is that we live in the propaganda brainwash world, and people are so eager to seize the narrative and spin things a particular way that, as John said there, we have nefarious characters kind of trying to take away our free thought from us, and I'm not good with that. I'm not okay with that, and I encourage you to think for yourself, question authority, and do all those things. I'd love to hear from you guys tonight. If you have a glitch in the matrix moment, if you have any idea of what we're talking about with this Mandela effect, where like the Berenstain Bears, okay? The name of that, when I was young, I remember it as Berenstain, Berenstein, right? With an EIN, Berenstain Bears, right? It's not. It's the Berenstain Bears, if you look it up now. Did they change the name on us? Is it something, again, nefarious? Is it just a rebranding? These are the types of things that are going on. History being changed in real time around us, and how much is literally this nefarious brainwash, and how much is maybe something else. And we'll get into some of the reasons why people think this is a real thing, and why it may not be. I think John there had a great call describing why this may be whatever it is, kind of just a mass media brainwash. But okay, so looking to hear from you guys. If you have stories about this, one more time, 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link, and you can get in here and take a look at this. Okay, so here we go. There's more. Let's get to some of this, all right? So now the origin of the term, the Mandela Effect, began in 2009, like we said, by Fiona Broom. She published this website detailing her observance of the phenomenon, right? She was at a conference talking with other people about how she remembered the tragedy of former South African President Nelson Mandela's death in the South African prison in the 1980s. And there you go, right? She was at a conference talking with other people. And kind of what John was saying there, that maybe there's a, kind of like spreading information around. The whispers become the shouts, and then the shouts become the booms. And then we start believing things that are not true. But anyway, so she remembered that, Mandela died in 1980s in a prison, but he actually passed away in 2013. So as she began to talk to other people about her memories, she learned she was not alone. Other people also remembered seeing news coverage of Nelson Mandela's death, as well as a speech by his widow. All right. So Broom was shocked that such a large mass of people could remember the same identical event in such detail when it actually never happened. Encouraged by her book publisher, she began a website to discuss what she called the Mandela Effect and other incidents like it. And we got some notable examples here, which we'll talk about. But that's what's on deck tonight. That's what we're talking about. So the Mandela Effect, is it something more woo-woo like that? The crisscross of timelines and string theory, which we'll get into after the top of the hour here, and kind of discuss what some of the reasons may be for this. But John there on the call, again, great call, John. Thank you. Touched on some like we're always fighting for actual brainwash going on here, like actual like whoever controls, like just like George Orwell from 1984 said, he who controls the past controls the present, controls the past, who also controls the future. And this is terrifying to me, because if we're actually getting new futures kind of put together in real time before our eyes, this is scary stuff. We got a phone call. We'll take this in a sec. If you guys want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. We're talking about the Mandela Effect. We're talking about, we're going to get to some notable examples here. We talked about Luke, I Am Your Father. We talked about the Berenstain Bears. We talked about the actual Mandela himself. So there we go. We're going to go with, let's go to this phone call. We got a couple calls coming in. Taking your calls tonight. This glitch in the matrix feeling, right? This Mandela effect, how we remember things one way and they end up a different way entirely. Let's go to Joe in Florida. What's up, Joe? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend? Testing. Actually, hold on one sec. I think I'm mute. Yep. My bad. I muted the tab. Go ahead, sir. We can hear you now. Sorry about that.
No, all right. Great call. That was a great last call. And glad that you have a lot of people calling in. So it's good to share ideas and question things. I know I talked about a couple of stories and synchronicities that happened, but more to the exact topic that you have. As strange as would have it, I was at a wedding this weekend in Calhoun, Georgia, and the DJ was playing a game with some of the men and some of the women who were couples, and he was playing just clips of TV show theme songs. And while I didn't even guess any of them because my memory's shot, I was surprised at the ones that people mixed up, which one was the Addams Family and the Monsters theme, and a lot of other theme songs that people got wrong, and most of the people in the room swore that it was a theme song to like Dallas or another TV show. But the one that stood out to me, and I've never seen the show, was Sex in the City. And that's in the Mandela Effect list. The guy played the song, and a woman yelled out, Sex in the City, and the DJ called it out as wrong. And I looked at my wife because we weren't playing the game, and she thinks I'm crazy, and I'm like, that's Mandela Effect. And she didn't know because she never watched the show. But I believe it was Sex and the City. And I had read about it, but it happened right there in front of me. So, and most of the girls were like, no, no, no. And the DJ kind of encouraged them, and they came up with Sex and the City. It's just kind of weird, but, I guess we have to make a comparison because sometimes these Mandela effects are past memories or false memories. And when we talk about glitches, at least for me, I've had glitches happen in real time in front of me with my son twice. One time when he was in the hospital and we were able to get out of the hospital, we were walking through a courtyard and there were probably about 15 kids, little kids. They might have been like 5 or 6 years old. And my son and I are walking by this little playground that the hospital had, and all of the kids turned around at the same time. And not all of them, but most of them waved at us at the same time. But here was the humdinger. I didn't notice it. My kid, who thinks I'm crazy most of the time, he's the one that noticed it.
It's playing some music because we got to go. Okay, so they all turned and waved at the same time. A little bit strange, a little bit computer robotish. Hey, Joe, can you hang on until we go to top of the hour here? Come back after the break. Okay, hang tight. I know Joe's got some stories to tell. Good stuff, man. And this is exactly what we're talking about, right? These false memories. But one thing is definitely true. What we remember and how we remember it defines us. And if those memories are being meddled with in mass-type situations, I think we have a bigger problem. That's what we're talking about tonight. Give us a call. You want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Got a couple calls on deck after the break. Don't go anywhere. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Mike. We're talking about the Mandela Effect and glitch in the Matrix. Hang tight. Be right back. This is Michael Strange from Troubled Minds. Did you hear that scientists recently discovered radio waves coming from Proxima Centauri? Well, I cannot confirm nor deny. We are broadcasting from that neck of the woods. You are listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM.
I wish none of this had happened.
So do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. There are other forces at work in this world, Frodo, besides the will of evil. Bilbo was meant to find the ring, in which case you also were meant to have it. And that is an encouraging thought.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? It's Thursday night, the night we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what they are? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the overall weird feeling we live in the upside down. We actually have this show roll 3 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Come hang out with us. Come say hi. Come do all the things. There's a lot going on in the world that just doesn't seem right, and that's what we're here talking about. If you want to be part of the show tonight, we are live. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, and we're talking about the Mandela Effect tonight. How people misremember not just in a singular fashion, but they misremember together in the same fashion, meaning something like this. We're going to go with the name, the Mandela Effect. People believed, many of them together in a group, that Nelson Mandela actually passed away in the 1980s in prison. And they remember specifically the news reports and even a speech given by Nelson Mandela's wife back in the 80s. However, he didn't die in prison in the 80s at all. He lived until 2013. And so these bizarre memories that are actually kind of harbored by a group of people, or what is this effect is known as that. It's named after him because many people believed this when this kind of came out back in 2008 from this individual that did the website. And let's see, her name is Fiona Bloom. Is that her name? Yes. Fiona Broome, Broome. So anyway, that's what we're talking about tonight. Looking to hear from you, 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. You can come join the show via phone or Discord. Here we go. We got Joe on the line. He was telling us the story just before the break. Let's go back to Joe. Sorry about that, Joe. Welcome back. Let's talk Mandela Effect. Let's talk glitch in the Matrix and what's going on with you, my man.
Well, so, just to leave off, that one when my kid was in the hospital, and we left, and all of these kids turned around at the same time, and I didn't think anything of it. My son, of all people, thought it was weird. And then, there's videos out there that you could see where the basketball players all turn on the same foot, but then again, it's basketball. They go from offense to defense. So everybody looks at it differently, but you kind of say to yourself, what's the probability of that? Could I even quantify these things happening at the same time? But those are live glitches in front of you that maybe happened within the last few years. The Sex and the City example just happened on Sunday, so my memory is pretty fresh. The other story that I spoke to you about, which is probably a little bit longer, maybe I could do that after midnight, was fresh, where I saw those two people kind of repeat themselves when they were walking by. That's a whole other thing. But it made me doubt some of the other things I've seen in the past. I know I've called in before about a V-shaped craft that I saw more than once. And when I think about the one sighting that I saw with my kid, I think it was an airplane. But it was so low and it was hovering. And the weird thing is, though, when we got underneath it, it started moving, and we had the windows down in the truck, and you didn't hear sound. And my version of what I saw versus what my son saw, we both agreed that you should have heard engine noise, and we didn't hear a thing. And to me, that was a glitch, different than the Mandela effect, but definitely what I perceive as a glitch. As far as the Mandela effect, the first caller kind of raises a lot of good questions. Even if we have faulty memories, which, let's face it, we do, if the government or CERN or somebody that was doing something nefarious could manipulate that, they would. And just like the last caller said, we don't want to take sides, but maybe we want to use examples. And sometimes you might say something three times, and it becomes the truth. Whose version of truth? How does it manipulate the masses? How can it be used? You know, when you say string theory, you know, maybe there's proof that something's, you know, another dimension, another reality is bumping up against ours. It's fascinating to think about. It's fascinating to think that maybe CERN is doing that. But it questions what are memories. You know, what's real. I know that maybe some people in chat can, you know, confirm this, but I play hockey. There might have been times when I wasn't able to play because of an injury, and I lose track of time. But I know when I go back to skate, it's the same guys. But there's a group of people that are there that know me, but I don't even remember their names or know them. But it's like they've always known me. I have a friend like that, you know, at a club that I go to. I've always known her, but I don't remember when I've met her. But it's like they've always been there. And it's a pleasant feeling. Deja vu, Mandela effect, I don't know. It's a pleasant feeling, but it's probably my bad memory.
Right, exactly. So like all this stuff, right? It's it makes us question our reality, and I think that's probably like the most basic, fundamental thing of what humanity is, right? Like we're supposed to have this base form of reality, and it's just not. Well, you know, I mean, you know, look, it spawns conversations like this. Like, this is deep philosophy. Like, do we live in a simulation? You know, is this like string theory type thing happening, or is there a multiverse and these timelines are crisscrossing? Or, like you said, do we all just have terrible memories, right? But either way, trying to build an actual.
I think it's a little.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, like I said, you have bad memories, but then there's things that you see in front of you, like, I swear to God, that car was green, but it's red. You know, there's things that happen in real time that there's videos for. Granted, some of them could be explained. But I know there was that video of that bird that was, like, floating in the sky in Brazil or somewhere. You know, there's those things that I don't think I have a great explanation for, that, again, happen in real time versus things that we've seen in the past.
Yeah, so the people that don't know what you're describing real quick, the people that don't know, there's actually a photograph out there. I didn't have it pulled up, but I did run across it kind of looking through the Mandela Effect stuff tonight. It's a bird that's perched like it's sitting on a branch, but it's not on a branch at all. It's just kind of sitting up there in the sky, and there's a photograph taken of it, just to give that context. Sorry, go ahead, man.
No, but, well, there's a video of that, and kind of what makes me worried about that video is that there's other people looking at it and acting. However, then we see hoaxes of people claiming a glitch. There's a video in the United States, I forget where it is, but this person's driving their car. I think we may have played it on a previous show a year ago or so, but everybody's just standing still, like they're frozen on a video game. And there's a person driving through the crowd, and they're kind of freaking out. Maybe it was staged, we don't know. And that gets to the other thing. How much of this is staged with technology? How much of this is some form of a deep fake? You know, Fiona Broom, she was an author. So maybe it was an experiment as a gag. I always remember Nelson Mandela being alive and being in jail. Okay? But that might be different than somebody else's version. And maybe it started as a gag and it grew legs. However, what's indifferent to me is Looney Tunes. I remember it as TOONS, Looney Tunes, and Fruit Loops. So
this stuff is out there.
Again,
It exists.
There's more questions than answers.
There's always more questions than answers. Well, so oddly enough, I can think of something similar that happened recently. Let's call it the 17th letter of the alphabet. We won't mention that because you can't. There's some things you can't. But it kind of spawned out of, like a message board where somebody was kind of cleverly weaving in and out of actual, news stories and creating a persona of a particular individual that was an insider in the Trump administration, et cetera, so on, that blew up and turned into this entire movement. So I think maybe your take there has maybe some merit based on that. Fiona Broome was an author and definitely a spinner of yarns. Let's say we got a call behind you. Let's we'll hear your longer story after we finish in the third hour. I appreciate the call, my friend. This is Joe from Florida. I've been calling for a very long time, a long time friend of the show. Thanks, man. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Okay.
Good night, guys.
Thanks, Joe. All right, there you go. We're going to go to Beechwood in, let's see, who else do we got? What else do we got? Let's go Beechwood in Massachusetts. What's up, Beechwood? You are on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend?
Well, what's up, my friend? I'm just chilling out, chipper today. I have a Berenstain Bears book in my hand.
Okay, Stain, S-T-A-I-N. Stain?
S-T-A-I-N, yep.
Okay, in your hand.
By Stan and Jan Berenstain. Yep, it's called Trouble at School.
Okay.
And about the little bear doing bad at school. It's awesome. On the chalkboard, too, they're doing a math equation, and it's 369 and 369, because people love those numbers. But the Mandela Effect is, it could be a phone, who knows? The Mandela Effect's awesome. I think that, my theory on what everything is, I'm like every theory in a blender right now. But the Mandela Effect has been acknowledged by mainstream media. And I know that brainwashing and conditioning is real. However, some of them, they're broken up into different groups to me. There's so many of them. Some of them you really have a 50-50 chance. Like Looney Tunes, Fruit Loops, the Kit Kat bar, does it have a hyphen in it? Skechers shoes, is there a T in it? There's a bunch of them. But the Nelson Mandela one is slightly different because it wasn't really 50-50. There was other things associated with it. So, I mean, it could have been, 50-50, but a lot of people said that he died, and like the thing with the speech, and it's just all mixed up and like chronologically jumbled around. And that's slightly different than having a 50-50 chance, because the way our language is, we have words that mean multiple meanings, but they're the same word. A whole bunch of them, all sorts of simple ones. But as far as it being real, I think some of them are real. And a lot of times, I'm fond of the Matrix theory and the shadow world. There's the past, the present, and the future. Some people say it all exists simultaneously. But I see my shadows on the wall. It copies everything I do. I really think that there's a world right next to us where we're still there, maybe not in mass, physical mass, but I think it's there. And what causes the glitches is, I don't really know. I have a few theories. It could be when people travel through. It could be we're in a simulation. It could be God created aliens. Aliens created a matrix. We're living in it. There's a lot of theories, but if you look into the Mandela Effect, you can actually document some of it. It's hard proof. And I think some of it's a little bit of a psychological trick where you have, the 50-50 shot. But the way the memory works it's incredible. And, humans can get this thing called disconnective amnesia. We can get depersonalization. We can be conditioned and convinced and brainwashed, as we are now, by the mass media. But, some of them are just different. They stand out to me more than others, and there's not a real explanation for it. Still looking for it.
Right, exactly. Which again is the nature of our reality, right? And people have been searching for this forever. This is a thousands and thousands of years old type of question. And do we live in that matrix? Is there a glitch in that matrix that happens? Matt here in chat said so. Hold on, this is a great comment. I got to read this. Matt says basically, let's see. Hold on. The only way this is true, he says, I'm going to paraphrase because I can't find the chat because the chat flows too fast. But he said that if this is true, the only way it's true is if we live in some sort of simulation like the Matrix, and these are glitches of some sort. Now I've got a good example we'll talk about as we go tonight, which surprised the heck out of me when I was looking into some of these things. An individual by the name of Nick Hinton on Twitter shared an article that we'll get to probably after the bottom of the hour here. I'll tease it just a little bit because, well, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Hang tight. There's really, really good stuff coming, I promise. But I mean, it surprised me. It literally surprised me, like kind of jaw drop open with glitch in the Matrix type stuff. And it's kind of, what do you believe? Do you believe these are coincidence type things, or do you believe that there's a little something more at work? I guess that's, like I said, the nature of, or actually, mankind is searching for the nature of our own reality, and it's been like this for so long. And it's odd to me and interesting how the conversations kind of change. Like in the old days, you got the old philosophers really talking about the cave, right? The actual story of the cave and the shadows on the wall, and is that your reality? Or and you don't even understand that the reality you see is not the reality that's actually happening. And that was one way to discuss it, right? Was that Aristotle's allegory of the cave, I believe, right? Was it Plato? I don't remember. And they're all smart dudes, right? What the guy say from Princess Bride?
Yeah.
Morons, all of them.
I'm not sure, but that story about the cave, though, is that the one where the guys live in the cave and they live there their whole life and they're almost happier in the cave than when they get let go?
Well, they see shadows on the wall in this cave. The allegory of the cave. They see shadows on the wall, and they believe that the shadows are their reality. And in fact, that's not true at all. If they actually leave the cave, they'll notice that the shadows on the wall are being cast from outside the cave, from actual individuals, entities, right, that are not the shadows on the wall. So it's definitely like kind of one of those mind screw type situations where it is questioning the nature of our reality and putting us in that situation where we kind of don't know. And you have to step out of the cave, and whether you want to that allegory being the Matrix, or maybe into the next dimension, or whatever it is, right? Maybe the next level of our own consciousness, to be able to realize those shadows are not true at all. And so you have a conversation like that happening thousands of years ago, but now we're talking about being actually in a computer server. That's the Matrix. It's unreal, right? It's literally the same conversation, but it's just framed in the context of two extremely different things. And it's good stuff. It's unbelievable. That's why we do this show. It's tickles my brain. Let's say that. I think that's for sure. So if you had to chalk this whole thing up, actually, but first, before I ask you that question, you've got the Berenstain Bear book in your hand. Do you recall it ever being Berenstein or Berenstein? Or do you always remember Berenstain, S-T-A-I-N?
I called them the Bear Books, man. Growing up, I called them the Bear Books, but I remembered it being called Berenstain. I do. I got it wrong. Like, if you ask me, it doesn't, not anymore, because, I've done research on the Mandela Effect, and I have a bunch of old books in my house, because I have some bookcases, but it sticks now. I don't forget anymore. But when I first tested myself, when someone said it, I went and looked. And then, I got it wrong. I got the Fruit Loops and the Looney Tunes one thing wrong, too. I remember them different.
Yeah,
the Fruit Loops is my worst enemy. I don't know if it's spelled F-R-O-O-T or F-I-U-t. I think I actually ate them.
I was going to say, even as a kid, I don't.
Infinity Stone.
I don't think I even actually ever ate Fruit Loops that I can remember, but I saw the commercials. But anyway, all right. So if you got to pin it down, this Mandela Effect, to one thing, what would it be? That was going to be my actual question before the Berenstain.
I think it's a glitch, almost like it's either a matrix or like two timelines running into each other in the way that the universe works. Like, I couldn't get in depth to it, but, you mentioned like string theory in the universe. Maybe there's two just like grinding into each other. And they say like mass and everything we see, like atoms, is actually mostly hollow. And there's so much stuff that we can't see. Even though stuff feels really solid, when you break it down, there's a lot of empty space inside atoms. So I don't know. I'm really, I'd say it's one of them two, if I had a theory, but more looking for an answer. But the question is there, and it's not like it's just been acknowledged by so many people. And like even the Star Wars, the actor that did the voice, his name slipped my mind, but the actor that did the voice for Darth Vader, he even got it wrong. He even, in an interview, said, "Luke, I am your father." And, they were talking about that, how so many people remember it that way.
Yeah,
same thing with We Are the Champions.
Interesting. Maybe that's it, right?
What it says at the end.
Maybe that's the trick, is that people saw an interview that kind of reframed their memory, and it ended up being wrong. and that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Right? That's terrifying, man. That we can reshape our memories by just seeing like an interview of that old actor that maybe misremembered. That's what's the guy's name? How can I not remember the guy's name? The guy that did Darth Vader's voice. CNN.
It's right on the tip of my tongue. I want to.
Yeah, same here. That's okay. All right.
So
You
know what he looks like. I can. But.
Yeah. He was in Conan. He was Conan the Barbarian. Anyway, all right. So I appreciate the call, my friend. This is Beechwood from Massachusetts. Good takes on everything as usual, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right, my friend. And then, I got the movie District 9. That's one of my own personal Mandela effects, where I remember it completely different.
Okay, you told us that one time before. It's going to fit here. Can you call me back after the third hour?
Yeah, no problem, my friend. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, my pleasure. Pleasure is ours. Thank you for calling. We'll talk to you to get your story after the third hour. All right, so we got to take a quick break here, doing our thing. We're talking about the Mandela Effect. And hang tight, Penny. We're going to take the quick break, and then we'll bring you on right after this. But the thing is this, right? These questions are, again, like I said, the allegory of the cave. You go back thousands of years, and this is the same thing. It's literally the same thing, framed in different context. What is a glitch in the Matrix? Why do we remember or misremember things together? A lot of it doesn't make sense, does it? Is this the mass hysteria of the UFO community? Is this the mass hysteria of those drones in Colorado that no longer exist? Is this in real time the Jedi mind trick? These aren't the droids you're looking for. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I do know I love thinking about it. If you guys want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're talking about the Mandela Effect. We're talking about a glitch in the Matrix. Love to hear from you. Don't go anywhere. More right after the break.
The truth is out there, and so are we. KTLK, Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're talking about the Mandela Effect. We're talking about how long the discussion has been happening about the nature of our reality, way back to the allegory of the cave. And probably before that. Well, have you ever seen a glitch in the Matrix? Do you remember Berenstain Bears being Berenstain Bears? What do you think about all this? Love to hear from you tonight. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And this is what this show's about. Really, there's so much going on in the world around us. Again, in the world of mass media, all brainwash all the time. Wikipedia being changed, and history, literal history, being rewritten right before our eyes as they try to control the future. This is very Orwellian, 1984, and this is what we talk about on this show. It's important that people remember, right? And they remember properly. But we have this weird conundrum, and it's called the Mandela Effect. And we're here talking about it tonight. Again, oddly enough, in 3 years of this show, we've never actually talked about the Mandela Effect in or this glitch in the Matrix type show directly. It's kind of been a periphery type of thing, but tonight it's the topic. Again, love to hear from you. Troubledminds.org, phone number's there, Discord link is there, 702-957-1037. We've got Penny Bunny about to join the show. We're going to get her on here, and we're talking about Mandela Effect, glitch in the Matrix, and this mass media brainwash. What does all of this mean? And do you think it's being used against us somehow? Do you think they're kind of lining up our memories to backfire? I think that's really the question. Let's get Penny in here and we'll talk about this. Penny, are you there? Penny from the UK. Testing 1 2. No. All right, there we go. I think we're good. Penny, how are you? Welcome to the show. You're on Troubled Minds with Mike.
Hello, can you hear me okay? Am I getting an echo?
Perfectly. I don't think we got an echo. We are good to go. We have to check this because Penny's from the other side of the pond, if you know what I'm saying, the United Kingdom. And just to clarify, Penny Bunny has a YouTube called Penny Bunny and Curious Bunny, her YouTube channels. And it's a couple reasons, right? Number one, she actually has a bunny rescue, like actual rabbits. So she takes care of rabbits that need homes and nurses them back to health and these types of things. So just to clarify, it's not kind of a super cute thing. It's just an actual thing. And then the second part is she has another YouTube channel called The Curious Bunny, and it's sort of the down the rabbit hole type of situation, right? So we got some synchronicity happening with all that. So just want to clarify for the folks that don't know you. Welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Thanks, Mike. Hello. Not too bad, thank you. Are you?
Doing good. Talking about this weird stuff. What do you think about the Mandela Effect?
Well, as you know, I've got my own theory about CERN being involved in it. I think the fact that Nelson Mandela, is it 2013 he died? They did a lot of CERN stuff in 2012. The world was supposed to have ended in 2012. Did it end in 2012? And we got sucked into this matrix, and we came out the other side with things a bit mixed upside down. That's my theory on the Mandela Effect.
So actually, hold on. Oh, you jumped out of the channel. So we've talked about this in the past a little bit with this is the Nick Hinton theory, and that in CERN in 2012, CERN actually had they discovered the Higgs boson. All right, Penny keeps jumping out of the channel. I don't know what's going on here, but so they discovered the Higgs boson in 2012 through CERN, and some theories suggest, and this is again from Nick Hinton, that the timelines sort of collapsed, and it's possible. Get Penny back in. I don't know what's going on, Penny. You keep jumping out of the channel, out of the Discord channel. But anyway, so Nick Hinton believes, and you can find him on Twitter. Great stuff. He actually is one of the things that actually inspired this show as well. So I'll pull up an article that I teased about Nick Hinton in just a sec that he actually shared recently about this glitch in the Matrix type stuff. But one of his theories is that in 2012, the CERN discovered the Higgs boson, which is the God particle, right? Meaning that the Higgs field is where energy crosses this barrier and becomes matter itself. And when CERN discovered in 2012 the Higgs boson, the world ended. Or at least it spun us off into a different timeline by connecting with this God particle, as it was called back then. If anybody remembers, and the funny thing is we did do a show on this quite a ways back, but they announced the discovery of the Higgs boson on July 4th, 2012, right? Talk about synchronicity. That's for the international types that listen to the show. I know we have people listening all over the world. July 4th is Independence Day in the United States, which some would call New Babylon or New Rome, or right. And what is the 4th of July known for? Fireworks. I don't know. Interesting stuff. But so CERN did its thing. We spun off into another timeline, and that's when things went nutty, right? Is that what you're saying, Penny?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yep, you're back and everything's good.
That was bizarre. I just kept on losing connection. Don't know why. Very strange. Yeah, so this is what I was thinking, The Mandela Effect started around after Nelson Mandela died in 2013. So is it a coincidence that we had lots of CERN activity around 2012, and also we're supposed to have, the world was supposed to have ended on the 21st of December 2012? So, and we can't deny, like I've said before to you, Mike, that the world has gone a little bit upside down since then. And it seems to be getting more upside down.
It seems like it's and I think the weird thing is that probably most people would agree with that statement. even the most
even the normies.
Yeah, exactly. Even the most staunch normie would be like, well, yeah, things have really gone sideways, haven't they? Yeah. And so here we are living in this and trying to figure it out. But okay, so CERN, the Higgs boson discovery, announced July 4th, 2012, and then this happens. Actually, Nelson Mandela actually passes away in 2013, and then this thing becomes a thing. So interesting. How much timeline change do we get, and what does it leave us? This is pretty weird stuff. Do you?
It is.
Go ahead. Actually.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say it is weird. I've been looking into there's a couple of other, if you keep digging for the Mandela Effect, you actually keep finding them. Like, I remember the Harry and the Hendersons movie. It was originally called Bigfoot and the Hendersons, and then they changed it to Harry and the Hendersons, and a lot of people remember it as Bigfoot and the Hendersons. That's another one.
Yeah, so that's one that doesn't actually ring true to me. And I was going to ask you actually, because now we live on different sides of the Atlantic Ocean, of course. Yeah. So did you guys have the Berenstain Bears there? The Berenstain Bears or Stain Bears, or is that not a thing for you guys?
No, not that I know of. Maybe other UK folk, but if when I'm asking chat, there's quite a few of my friends that have come over and chat from the UK. Maybe they'll know, but I've not heard of that. But I know there is quite a few others, isn't there?
Yeah, there's plenty, and it makes me wonder too. So the first caller, John, tonight, kind of equated it to like a mass misremembrance by listening to maybe demagogic type folks that are giving speeches, and maybe get facts incorrect, and these speeches get amplified, and then so we remember poorly by not really ever kind of going back and checking, and we take somebody's word for it. So that could be one way. But then in this same sense, I wonder, being that we live in different cultures, different, again, you're in the UK, I'm in the United States. I wonder, your Harry and the Henderson example, for example, I don't recall that being a different name. It's always been the same name. So I wonder if like this international type of, moving a movie over from the United States to the UK, maybe they give it a different name, and then people, maybe those movies kind of circulate over here in small quantities. You know what I'm saying? And then some people see the movie in like a used movie house, and it changes the name in their brain. Weird stuff. I hadn't actually thought of it until you brought out Harry and Henderson right now.
I have researched it, and apparently many websites are saying they did change it about 6 months in, from Bigfoot and the Hendersons to Harry and the Hendersons. So most people I know remember it as Bigfoot and the Hendersons over here, but I have researched it and there was no difference in name change in the States to the UK. Interesting. So they did change the name, apparently 6 months in, but as I say, that's what most people are saying online. That was just something that I was thinking of myself, but there's so many of them. It's like the Fruit of the Loom as well, the logo. Some people see like there's like a basket behind the fruit, and some people say there isn't a basket behind the fruit, and you've looked at that one. Yeah, there's so many of them. Yeah, the cornucopia. So close your eyes, guys, and imagine what the Fruit of the Loom logo looks like. It's clearly fruit,
But is there that basket in the back, that cornucopia basket, or is it just the fruit itself? Can you remember? And you may be surprised to find out that it's not like you remember. And there's a lot of these, right? There's a lot of these things. Again, I've got a list of 500. I'm going to share this list. There's a list of 500 of these things. And again, right, some people remember them differently. Some people, do or do not, depending on kind of where this is coming from. But, and definitely, like I said, internationally, we're going to remember different brands differently. But it does make me scratch my chin and go, I wonder what's going on right about now.
Yeah, you've got to wonder, and as I say, is it a coincidence that they find that in 2012 in CERN, and then this just happens to happen the year after? And there's so much, like, we've got 2021 where the world has really turned upside down. Could that have been 2012 the other way around? Is it the Mayan calendar? Their 2012 could have read as 2021, just like your calendar over there. You put the month and then the date, then the year, where in the UK we put the day, then the month, then the year. So
that's because you guys are wrong. You guys are just wrong.
to me, that makes sense. You go low, middle, high.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. So it seems like you should put one before the other. But I don't know. I think just given all these examples, there's definitely something at play here. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. So you're kind of leaning into that maybe the timeline is changed, and this a little bit of the
I do believe so.
Yeah, so a little bit of the that string theory is kind of coming back to roost, and that there's multiple universes, and we kind of cross and change as time progresses, right? And so just like we said tonight, is that time seems to be exist in slices in the same space, right? And so they say that in the space we're in, the beginning of time and the end of time all exist at once. And so here we are juggling all that with all this weird stuff in our brain and these mass misremembrances of these memories. It's crazy stuff. It is definitely crazy stuff. I've got a good example here. Sorry, I don't want to hog your time here because you're fantastic.
No, you're fine.
But no, I'm not. Check this out. Yes, you are. You're fantastic. I've got now this came from Nick Hinton, and this is again, Nick Hinton is the guy who had the theory about the CERN and the timeline. But I want to point this out that kind of when I was looking into this, I ran into this and I was a little bit shocked. Let me pull this up and I'll show you guys. Let's see, one moment here. I'll put it on the stream and you guys can follow up on me, make sure I'm not making this stuff up. As always, I appreciate you guys fact checking me and doing all that because, again, I'm only one person and, et cetera, so on. So here we go. Now, this is an article from, that's right, 38 years ago. And for those of you that know football, you'll get this. Those of you that don't, American football, I'm sorry, to the folks in the UK. American football. But here we go. This is the headline from 38 years ago. Steelers, Tom Brady undergoes arm surgery. All right? Now, Tom Brady, as everybody knows, that follows American football, I'm sorry, is probably the greatest quarterback of all time. Statistically, right? That they call him the GOAT, the GOAT, the greatest of all time. But 38 years ago, Tom Brady was 5 years old. This says Steelers, Tom Brady undergoes arm surgery. And they were actually talking about a quarterback, which is a position that plays American football for those folks in the UK, by the name of Terry Bradshaw. And he went into the hospital for a quick surgery, and they gave him the pseudonym Tom Brady, Thomas Brady, 38 years ago. And it just so happens 38 years later, actually Tom Brady is probably the best quarterback to ever play the game. Weird, no? A little bit weird. So the guy, again, Terry Bradshaw, he's an old guy, clearly. He was playing football in 1983. But Thomas Brady was the fake name they gave him in the hospital so he didn't get harassed by fans. And 38 years later, Tom Brady ends up being the most notable quarterback in the NFL. Weird, right? I think that's a little bit weird. I hadn't heard that one.
Very.
I had not heard that one.
No, I've not heard that one.
But I wouldn't expect you to, because, I think the
Yeah.
Am I right that the UK folks think American football is sissy stuff?
It is a bit sissy, yeah. You've got all your padding on. We play rugby. We're hard. We break our noses and stuff.
All right, just I had heard that. I just wanted to clarify and make sure that was the case. Okay, but weird, right? I mean, is that so? Okay, I guess this is the question. Let me reframe it, and I'll ask you this: do you think things like this are merely a coincidence? I mean, because there's a lot of them. I just linked a list of 500, the top 500 Mandela Effect type things. Do you think this is a coincidence in some capacity?
No, not at all. And I'm not one of these people that believe everything. I'm an open-minded skeptic, should we say. I always try and look for the rational explanation. There's too much here. Another theory is that CERN created a black hole, which they've admitted they have done now, that inhaled the world, and then the scientists placed us all in a simulation to try and cover their mistake.
So that would mean layers of simulations. So they're like, well, we screwed that one up, so let's restart it at about 1980, whatever the date was, and then
if only.
Yeah, and then not only
they may have done.
Yeah, right. But then they get some details wrong. But then the people, the what would you call us, golems, or the homunculus, or the the people, the consciousness that lives here in this computer server, as it were, we remember these effects from another timeline, another actual digital copy of ourselves that has latent memories from a different timeline based on that glitch in the Matrix and the reboot of the server or whatever. That's crazy stuff, right? That's crazy stuff.
Yeah, it can send you a bit insane, keep looking down this, but everything you read on it actually does make sense. So far, I've been digging, and I've not got to anything in my mind that said, that's just ridiculous, because actually it's very plausible. You've also got to look at time travel as well. I believe that the CERN and whatever they're doing down there, they're doing a lot of dodgy stuff. They've invented time travel, so they could be coming back from the future. And they say if you step on a butterfly, the butterfly effect changes things. How many butterflies are they stepping on in the future that's changing stuff back in the past? Am I overthinking this?
I'm not sure. I think, again, it goes back to the nature of reality, so I don't think you can overthink it. I think the more you think about it, the more you end up kind of where you started, right? I think that's part of the problem with this, is that, again, we're talking about, the Plato, I'm pretty sure it's Plato in the allegory of the cave, right? Where they were talking about this thousands of years ago. Is the nature of our reality as we see it in our own vision, is it reality at all? Or are we all fooled? Is this all just a big, whatever it is, like a big trick of our brain? And we believe these things to be true when they're not true at all. And none of it's true. I'm more apt to believe that than most anything else, because it is the upside down, is it not?
Yeah, definitely. Everything is going back to front. Left is right, right is left. Good is bad, bad is good. And there's so many people as well that seem to be completely brainwashed, and the tinfoil hatters seem to be getting further away from these people, that they just ignore it. They just take the blue pill. It's just carry on with their little lives, It's easier to do that than you get the people that are thinkers like us, that are always searching for answers, and we just won't accept what they're calling the norm now, and the norm is getting more and more bizarre. It's just insane. Where's it going to end? Who knows? Hopefully they'll flip us back. Hopefully they'll switch CERN back on and they'll flip us back, and we'll go back to 2012 and start again.
Give it back, guys. We want it back.
Yeah, give it back. Yeah,
that makes sense to me. I'd like it back, right? We'd all like to go back, I think, at some point, and maybe have that innocence of childhood back again. But I don't know. This is again big thoughts, big questions, and I think that's why we've always done this show, right? You kind of think about things outside the box a little bit, and it seems that things are not really a coincidence sometimes. And here we are trying to make sense of these coincidences. Again, think about that. 38 years ago, we have a quarterback, right, go into the hospital and they make his fake name, Tom Brady. 38 years later, Tom Brady, who was 5 years old then, is the most notable quarterback in the entire league. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff. Like that's a hell of a coincidence, right? That's a hell of a coincidence. So there's more. Again, a list of, I linked it, the top 500 list of the Mandela Effect. What are some of your favorites? I know you looked into this before we did this show. What are some of your favorites of the Mandela Effect?
You've got the Henry VIII one as well. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Yes, definitely. But go ahead.
There's the I'm trying to remember them all now because I didn't actually research them. I just knew them already. I know there's the Henry VIII one. There's the Skechers one. Isn't there a Coca-Cola one as well?
I'm not sure about a Coca-Cola one. Let me read the Henry VIII real quick.
Yeah. Okay, I can get it back up here, but you read it out if you've got it there.
Yeah, I got Henry VIII. So people had a memory of a painting of Henry VIII eating a turkey leg, though no such painting has ever existed. There have, however, been similar cartoons created. So definitely good stuff here. And this is again, right? People remembering or misremembering and put us in this position. We got like a minute left on the Fringe. Penny, don't go anywhere. All right.
Okay.
Let's wind this up. Give us your other favorite of one more Mandela Effect if you have the Coke one or anything else up, and then we'll do like a quick outro, and then we'll continue for the third hour.
There was one in the Hannibal Lecter movie, Silence of the Lambs, when he says, "Hello, Clarice." And
Hello,
many people say that he says, "Good morning, Clarice."
Yes,
so
exactly.
Which one did he say?
Exactly.
I remember the hello. I don't know what you remember.
I remember hello, Clarice. Yes, exactly.
Hello. Yeah. So what do others remember, And you can sorry.
No, go ahead. Let finish up.
I was just going to say
20 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. I was just going to say that you can kind of put this to bed when you have so many people with if you've got just a few people with one and a few people with, lots with the other. But law of averages says there's got to be something going on when you've got a complete split virtually down the middle. And I don't believe in coincidences either. There's only a couple, but there's too many here, in my opinion.
And that's the question for tonight. Do you believe in coincidences?
Yes.
If you're listening, right, exactly. If you're listening on Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. Make sure to wish him happy birthday. Today is his birthday. If you're listening on YouTube, D Live, or Facebook, stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds. We're going to still have Penny here. We're talking about the Mandela Effect and all the rest of this. What does this even mean? Do you believe in coincidences, or do you think this is just a big mind screw backwards and upside down? Thanks for listening, guys. You're the best. Be sure, be strong, be true. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. This is Michael Strange from Troubled Minds. Did you hear that scientists recently discovered radio waves coming from Proxima Centauri? Well, I cannot confirm nor deny. We are broadcasting from that neck of the woods. You are listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM. right, guys, welcome back. We're going to skip the break because we got a guest on tonight. We got Penny Bunny here from the UK, and we're going to continue talking about the Mandela Effect and the rest of this. So Penny's got some great stuff here regarding CERN and the world ending in 2012 and the black holes being created and all kinds of good stuff. We're also looking to hear from you guys tonight. If you want to be part of the show, you know what to do. I'm not sure how long Penny's going to stick around. I know it's late for you. You're welcome for the entire thing. You know that. But we're taking calls. We're taking questions. We're taking interesting stories on this Mandela Effect, if there's a coincidence or if you think there's something else afoot here. Mass media brainwash, we're open to all those possibilities. And I think you have to be, right? As the independent skeptics that we are, I think you have to be kind of open to all of these possibilities. But we'd love to hear from you. 702-957-1037. Join the Discord, troubledminds.org. Let's continue, shall we, Penny?
Yeah. Can people ring up on the Discord if I'm here as well?
Yes, definitely.
Because I'm just wondering, UK folk, if they want to ring up, can they? Okay, so we'll drop the Discord link.
Definitely. So yeah, if you guys want to be part of the show and you want to talk to Penny and myself, just hop in here and we'll talk about the Mandela Effect. And that's the question tonight, right? The nature of our reality. Go back to the allegory of the cave, and right, it was shadows on the wall. And now in our time, right, thousands of years later, the shadows on the wall are actually code in the machine. You see, the conversation hasn't changed, just the medium in which we have that conversation has actually changed, which is right, curious, if you ask me. Speaking of curious, and the Curious Bunny.
Curious Bunny.
Down the rabbit hole. Let's down the rabbit hole.
Down the rabbit hole.
Take us there, Penny. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go.
Well, I've had to reduce my rabbit holeness because I got told off, didn't I, for doing too much truthing. So I've had to delete over 100,000 views of content due to YouTube censorship. So, there's a lot of stuff that I've had to get rid of, but we're still looking at the Mandela Effect, CERN, aliens, flat Earth as well is another one that I look at. So we can still look at so much stuff, but we're not allowed to look at, there's certain stuff we can't talk. Just so people are aware in chat, in case they start linking what's happening now, as in the current thing,
right?
Because we can't talk about that.
The 17th letter.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some censorship that is happening in real time.
Be careful, folks.
Yeah, just exactly. Like you guys know, if you're part of this community, you know what's going on. Just be careful what you say. Like in particular, that 17th letter of the alphabet. Just be really careful.
And the plague. Yeah, exactly. And the plague.
Yeah,
you can't talk about the plague.
Exactly, the plague of the old the plague, the European plague.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Old school.
The far eastern one. Right. Okay. So there's another one here. The frowning Mona Lisa. Have you heard of this one?
I have not. Please tell.
Okay. So the painting is among one of the most famous works of art as we know in recorded history. So why do so many admirers insist the demure subject of the portrait is frowning instead of correctly describing her with a smirk? Brewer can't say for certain, but conjuring an image of the painting might involve filling in the blanks with segments of other paintings, which is why they think people may get mixed up. It'd be interesting to look at the statistical frequencies of frowns. This is what I mean. Like, I'd love to do a vote or something and find out the statistics of these things. It'd be really interesting to collate some data on how many there is for and against these different Mandela effects. Does anybody else remember that one? The frowning or the smirking? Sorry, the frowning and what was the word that they used? Oh, yes, smirking. Yeah,
so if you ask me, and I'm just going from memory, I think the Mona Lisa had a smirk. That's right. Did she or did she not?
I remember a smirk.
Was there
Let's have a look. I need to go back now and have a look. Describing her with a smirk. Why do so many? I know the smirk was the correct one. Correctly describing her with a smirk. So, anybody think of her frowning? I don't think of her frowning actually, unless there's been she's been in a lot of movies, hasn't she?
Yeah, of course.
That could be explained.
The most famous painting of all time. Actually, so
exactly.
Let me drop this real quick. So you actually asked about like collating some of these things. Interestingly, there's this website called alternatememories.com. and it has / Mandela Effect list. And so it's probably the best I've seen for kind of throwing them all into to one bucket, right? Where you can kind of put them out there and actually have people kind of say yes or no, right? And they have votes. There's like the amount of people affected, so they have percentages next to them. So this is the one I've seen that's closest to what you just kind of described. So like the very first one, right? It has Nelson Mandela, and they don't have it there, right? But they have, for the next one, the Berenstain Bears, they have 78.39% of the people have voted yes, this is a real thing. So there's actual like votes in here. Forrest Gump, life was like a box of chocolates.
Yeah.
It's 95%. Interview with the vampire or interview of the vampire, or no, interview with a vampire or interview of the vampire, 69%. So they kind of like you described, this website has done some of that work. So just in case you hadn't seen that, I'm linking it in the chat and you guys can check this out.
I haven't, no. Is it still open for votes, or is it previous votes?
No, I think it's still open. I think you just make an account and then you vote.
Oh, cool.
Like kind of give it like a 5-star or 1-star, and it will tell you based on how many people like or don't like. But yeah, it looks like it's still doing votes, and it gives you the date they were actually put up there and everything. So it is a pretty cool site, the most comprehensive one I've seen. So like you said, maybe this is a good starting point. I'm not sure if it tells you how many exact votes, but maybe taking the top ones and kind of creating a separate thing, maybe based on this, would be really good. But yeah, so this is a good starting point for sure. I don't know how accurate, of course, bots and all the rest of this crap on. Yeah, that's part of the problem, right?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That movie, they did actually change the name of that movie as well. I remember that it used to be, when it first came out, it was called Interview with the Vampire, and then they changed the name. I remember they changed it to something completely different, if I'm remembering rightly, from both of those. And they do change movie names, don't they? And maybe that's why they changed them, because they've realised the glitch is being exposed. Do you remember the movie Adventures with Babysitting? And they changed it to, was it A Baby's Day Out or something? Do you remember that one?
No, did they change it?
In the early 90s?
Yeah. So no, that had Elizabeth Shue. Oh boy, that had Elizabeth Shue in it. I remember that movie very well. But we're rewinding back to the old days when I was a young man. But
yeah, we're showing our age.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, I never remember the movie being changed. Like Adventures. I think it was Adventures in Babysitting. It's always been, no?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. They changed it to. I think it was A Baby's Day Out or something. They changed it, I remember, because when it first came out, I remember watching it, and then a few years later, they changed the name. Why do they do that? Why? What would be the reason, other than they're like, oh no, we're being exposed here. There's too many people questioning the names. We better just change the name completely. I do question everything, and in this day of the internet, when we can get together now, people like us before would have never met each other. We would never have been able to validate what we're saying. We would have just thought it was just us, where the internet has actually helped us, and it's been a hindrance and it's been a positive, hasn't it? It's took away a lot of people's childhoods, sat on the computer and not out on your bike or whatever. But it's brought people together as well, people like us that would never have met. I would never have met you before the internet, for example. We would never have been here. Agreed.
So
why are they panicking?
Well, we shouldn't be. Well, they're panicking because we're talking to each other, and we're.
That's what I mean. Yeah, they're panicking, thinking, "Oh no, there's too many of them getting together, and there's so many tinfoil hats. They've created this huge tinfoil hat and this big umbrella of a big tinfoil umbrella, and they're working things out and they're putting things together, and you've got to wonder, and you can. I don't believe that the people that are in charge are even human, and that's another show, but I really don't. I genuinely don't think they're human.
Is that and there's a lot of theories there too, with not just talking about aliens, but like the archons and like all kinds of different like negative effects that are happening to us that are like the entities from the DMT trips and ayahuasca and all this stuff, is that people say they cross over and they come back and there's people there, but not people, they're things, they're whatever they are, right? And they're watching us
Beings.
Very intently, right? Beings, yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
I think they're everywhere.
It stands to reason, I mean, and that's part of the problem as being human is we can only see so much. Our brain is only capable of it. And I was saying this when I was a 20-year-old young man. I was like, look at the nature reality, and like we can only perceive so many things through our basic human senses. But the universe itself is like an unbelievable amount of things that we probably can't even perceive at some points. And we may never be able to, But definitely.
I think we can. I just think we're just dumbed down enough. I think like our ancestors knew, that we were so. They say that each child is more intelligent than the parents, but maybe once that was true. But the way I see it is society's been dumbed down, so we're not using our brains. There's less and less of our brain cells that seem to be used. The more that technology does for us, we don't even have to use our brains anymore. And you imagine it in 100 years. Have you seen that movie, Idiocracy?
Yes.
That is a classic example of I watched that 10 years ago and I was like, this is actually going to happen. And I can see it now.
Yeah, it's not funny. It's 10 years ago, and it seemed like okay, maybe right, like kind of the little tongue-in-cheek smirk.
500 years away.
Yeah, but no, it's like 30 years away.
We're there.
it's like happening.
Yeah, we're like halfway there already.
Exactly. Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So we got Joe calling in from Florida, and we're going to take him in just a sec. He had another story to tell us. So with all of this stuff, I don't know, I mean. The whole scope of all of these things, aliens and this this parallel dimension, and I don't know, and the way things have literally just spun off the rails the past 10 years or so. I have an easier time believing something's at work here, and it could be like a kid's computer project that decided it's I'm no longer watching. I'm like maybe the creator of this particular version of the Matrix has just decided I'm bored with this now. I'm going to go do something else. And we're kind of left to our own, and everything's going on nuts, right? Everything's insane. And here we are.
Everything's insane, yeah. Was it an intern at CERN back in 2012 that came along? Let's get some interns in, and they just press the wrong button. And it's like, oh shit, I can say that, can't I?
Yeah, definitely.
Can we say that now?
No, you're good.
Okay,
you're good.
Awesome.
Thanks for asking. Thanks for caring.
Okay. I would have had to have just we're sorry, and retracted. Yeah, I do believe that's a possibility. And then you go down the realm of the flat Earth, and I don't want to get into that now, but I do think that one day there's a show on it, because the Matrix and everything, it sits in with that. So people think that the flat Earth is just meaning that it's just a flat pancake flying around and whatever. But when you actually listen to, we've had Tommy on the show, that flat fellow, I don't know if he's in chat. For example, he's researched this stuff. It's not just theories. He actually does scientific tests and studies. And some of the things that he comes out with, and he can prove everything as well, very interesting, And are we in a simulation? As in, when I say flat, I mean we're not spinning. We're not a big ball. We could just be stationary. Things are moving around us. Are we in some sort of, like I say, a simulation under some sort of firmament or dome or whatever you want to call it? And then there could be like lots of them next to us. What's beyond Antarctica? Do we have lots of these little matrix worlds? Who knows? We don't know who made us. We've come from somewhere, haven't we?
It seems like. I hope. Cross your fingers. This isn't all a big dream.
You never know.
I'm hoping.
But, yeah. It's just like my brain. I'm one of these overthinkers. I'm like, right, okay, and then I think about that, and then it's like, well, we've come from somewhere. So could the creator of whoever created us done something and flip the timeline? Is he thinking, right, these people are getting too close to something, or I want to change the way that my humanity is going, and they've caused the Mandela Effect. Deja vu, does that come into the Mandela Effect as well? Because then you've got deja vu. The explanation they've come out with the scientists for deja vu to me doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I don't know what you think.
Like the false memories and the rest of this stuff that we kind of conflate things. Actually, I got a list of how they describe the Mandela Effect and what it actually means, quote, scientifically. But actually, can you give me 60 seconds, Penny? Your show for 60 seconds.
Of course.
I'm going to hit the men's room. I'll be right back. And then we'll take Joe's call right after that. Dude, thank you. I'll be right back.
Hello, everybody. Hello. At least we're not on the radio. So I'm on just YouTube. Hello, folks in chat. Remember to hit the like and the subscribe button. Let us know what you're thinking in chat. Deja vu, Mandela Effect. Are they both linked together? I know that one of the theories for deja vu is that our brains and our eyes aren't linking together. So what they're saying is that when we see something, our brain is seeing it quicker than our eyeballs are seeing it. So then our eyes are catching up, which is what feels like the slight delay and the sort of moment of going, hang on, I've been here before. It's because your eyes have seen it, but your eyes haven't caught up. Your brain has seen it first. That makes it, what do people think of that? Is it all connected? I personally think it is, and I think there's too many coincidences for it to be nothing. So I'm going to have a quick look in chat. Hold on. Anyone that was on my live stream last night will know that I've got a shrimp problem. That's what I was dealing with. Right. Let's get into chat. Does anybody want to come up and talk to me? Bevel Begley, you do like your Muko emojis, don't you? Hello, Eric. How you doing? Meep Tony's in the chat. Ines is in the chat. We've got, who else? Bailey is in the chat. Why don't you ring up, Bales? Xavier, Matthew, Fred. Did I say Ines? Johnson, you are in the chat. Must we go down flat earth? Well, I know it's Mike's show, but I think if you are going to... Hello! I was just reading out the chat.
Don't worry. I'll save you from the flat earth crowd. We're good. All right.
No, it's fine. It was just... I just think you end up there. At some point, you end up there, don't you? When you go down the Matrix route, you're like, you will get there at the end.
Yeah, well, I think so. And again, it goes back to questioning reality. Thank you again, Penny, for giving me just a minute there. And let's go to Joe.
No, you're fine.
Right on. Let's go to Joe. He's got a story.
Do you want me to go?
No, hell no.
Oh, okay.
If you're tired and whatever, yes. If you're not,
I'm fine.
Please stay right here. Don't go anywhere. All right, we're gonna get Joe on. So Joe actually, now this is weird. Let's talk about synchronicity for just a sec. So Joe actually contacted me about a week ago. And Penny and I had been talking about doing a show like this probably around the same time. And they had kind of this synchronicity bit of the same sort of thing, which is weird, right? And then not only that, within that same week, there was that tweet from Nick Hinton that had that football stuff with Tom Brady and 1983 and Terry Bradshaw, right? Like it kind of brought it all together, and I was like, what the hell? Like sometimes you don't even try, and things just kind of unwrap and come together. It's just weird stuff. So let's go to Joe. He's got a story to tell us regarding this glitch in the Matrix and the Mandela stuff. So let's do it. Joe from Florida, welcome back, sir.
Hey, so thank you for taking the call. I know you and I had talked, and I spoke with the other witness. Actually, there were a few witnesses, it turns out, for this little story of coincidence, synchronicity, whatever we want to call it. But it was 2 Fridays ago. It was St. Joseph's Day. And normally, my brother's the only one that remembers that day. So there's nothing really weird about that, except that him and I don't really talk much. But he texted me that morning, Happy St. Joseph's Day. So he was in the back of my mind, because I was going to text him and thank him once I got my butt to work. So I get to work and doing my funeral director thing, paperwork, kind of clowning around. And around 12:30, I go out for lunch. Now, it's a habit, because you always get bothered. I eat my lunch, and I go out to my truck, and I pass out. I probably pass out for 20 minutes, and then I come back to work. And it's repetitive. It's like being in a rat race. You go out in the back, it's the same cars. It's the cars from the medical center next door, and it's the cars from the funeral home. It's always the same scene. You have some people that are walking behind the funeral home. Anyway, about 12:30, I go out back, and my courier tells me there's a guy out there washing his car. So I look out, I see this African-American guy. He's picking up some trash off the ground, and I'm like, I'm not going to call the cops on him. He's picking up trash. He's minding his own business. I'll just let it be. That was at 12:30. Come back inside. I don't notice the guy. I just come in. What I find out afterwards, I'm just trying to leave the timeline, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, some of my employees went outside, and they went upstairs to check the apartment above the funeral home, because we're still one of those funeral homes that has a living quarters upstairs, although it's not used. So what I found out later on was that the 3 people that had gone upstairs saw that guy 3 hours later, but that guy was just staring up at the sky, just looking up into the clouds. Didn't say anything, didn't notice anybody. They found it weird. The one girl in particular found it weird that he was just frozen, staring at the sky. So 5 o'clock rolls around, and I don't know any of this because this all came after. 5 o'clock rolls around, and my office manager and myself, we walk out the door because we try to leave together, just because that's the way it was raised. Try to leave as a group, just make sure there ain't nothing going on. So we walk out of the back of the funeral home, and that guy's in his car, and he mumbles something to the effect of the earth is warming. And I look at my office manager and I tell her, get in the truck, make sure the front door's locked, because this is a little bit weird. So while we're still walking, I look at the guy, because of course it's got to happen to me, because I probably call these things to myself. And I tell the guy, excuse me, did you say the earth is warming? And he's like, yeah, it's getting warm. And I'm like global warming? What are you looking at? And he says, I'm looking up at the sky, and I'm watching the clouds. He goes, hey, can you see that hole in the clouds, that space? And I'm thinking, okay, I'll play along. And he basically tells me, he says, that's a portal. He goes, that's where the planes get through. And I tell him, I go, the planes for what? For chemtrails? And he's like, yeah, I don't know, what they're doing, but it's for chemtrails. So as I'm talking to him, and my office manager's getting in her car, I notice 2 people, and this is what kind of weirded me out. I see these 2 people walking through the parking lot. And normally we get people that walk through because there's a grocery store, but we know most of them because they live in the apartment complex. But I noticed these 2 people, and they're walking, they have a whole parking lot, and they just walk right close next to me. And I couldn't look at them. I just couldn't look at them. The only thing that was going through my head was, I'm kind of embarrassed, and I'm talking to a crazy guy. But I'm crazy too. So these 2 people walk by, and I found out later that my office manager noticed them also, but she didn't know enough to look at them or acknowledge them. And that's kind of what we found strange later on. So I keep talking to this guy, and the guy gets out of his car, and he has pink flip-flops on of all days. And he starts talking to me about there's other planets, and I tell him like Planet X, because that's all I know about is Nibiru. And he's telling me there's 4 suns, and I should be aware of that. So it's almost like he's trying to teach me. And he's talking about cars and symbolism, which we all can have variations on symbolism here. I mean, indoctrination, triangles, all of those things. And he's going on and on. So probably about 10 or 15 minutes goes by, and I get in my truck, and I'm like, I got to go. And the guy gets in his car, and he tells me, he goes, the cops know I'm here. They're going to leave me alone. I'm just looking at the clouds because they look like they're up against the wall. And strangely enough, when I looked at the clouds, they're all fluffy and stuff, but at the top of the clouds, it almost looked like there was a line. But to me, that was a front or temperature variation in the atmosphere. Anyway, I leave. So as I get in the truck, I call my office manager, and I tell her, I go, did you realize what just happened? And she looks at me and she goes, only you can get that craziness. And, we're talking on the phone, but as I'm pulling away, and now I'm across the street, heading to a different destination, as I'm pulling away 10 or 15 minutes later, and I'm talking to her on the phone, I'm stopped at a light, getting ready to make a right turn, and I see that couple again. And this time they're coming right down the sidewalk, right up close to the truck, and they just turn the corner. And I get a glimpse, but I still couldn't look them in the face for whatever reason. But what I could tell is it was a woman and a man, white as white could be, matching sunglasses and black Parkers. And as I'm seeing them, I kind of get a chill. And I'm telling the girl, I go, you're not going to believe this. And she's like, what? I'm like, did you notice those people in the parking lot? She says, yeah, but I didn't really pay attention. So she's like, maybe you're having a glitch in the matrix moment, and I kind of laugh. So as I'm driving away, I'm like, who am I going to call? Let me call my brother. Because my brother is more into this than I am. He's got a little bit of a show on public access. I give him a call, sure as shit, and I could curse right now. He picks up the phone. I ask him, what are you doing? And he tells me, he goes, I'm getting ready to go film, a show. He goes, it's my Friday night thing. We're going to film the show. So I tell him what happens. He thinks that the guy that was talking to me was an archon. I could describe that he was crazy, but he's telling me that it's an archon. They're trying to tell you things. He says the two people that you saw walking by could be a glitch, could be men in black, or could be some kind of Nordics. He said, but whatever it is not great. But he says the more we talk about these things, you, me, this show, the word is power, things manifest themselves. So, kind of creepy. And then when I get home and tell my mom the story, earlier in the day, my mom tells me that she was eating a bagel at a restaurant. She saw an old lady cross the street, and she swears when she left, 45 minutes later, she saw that same lady crossing the street. So, I laughed about it, and that was it. And then I called you because I was like, it's kind of weird. I don't know what people's opinions are. I'm open to them. But since that day, I haven't seen that car in the parking lot, and I haven't seen that couple walk through the parking lot at all. And, my question is, if you're walking somewhere, if you're walking to a destination, they may have been lost, they may not have been, it could have been a million things. But it was creepy because they were across the street on a busy highway, and they were walking to a destination where there really wasn't anything that they would be going home to. So.
The weird stuff, man. Lots of weird stuff there. And what's up with your brother, man? He's talking about archons. He's not on this show. What's going on, man?
Yeah, well, so here's a name, and maybe Penny, or I forget the other, woman that you have on there. He told me to Google Frank Divita. So it's like Divita, and I listened to a couple of things that Frank said, and basically, his belief is we're in a cycle and we're all connected to God, whatever that is. But at some point in time, artificial intelligence will awaken and be so alive that it will mimic God, and therefore it will block whatever our thoughts are. to whatever source we have. And they talk about that in the movie The Matrix, that you go back to the source, all these things, whether I believe in them or not is moot. I'm just here to tell you the story. But I find all of these different opinions, whether they be religious or embedded in technology, it's a progression of things. Like you said, the cave, starting in the cave, and how things happen now. How storytellers happen now. What was the show that we had on that you talked about? Two evils. I forget what it was called because it escapes me. But that you end up having to, you kind of get manipulated into the lesser evil. Create a problem, solution, reaction. But my brother, he's got. I'll send you the links and I'll call him and see if he wants to be on the show because you ask him questions and he has answers, whether they're the right answers or not. I don't know. But he kind of hangs out with a Long Island medium kind of type, and maybe I'll put the link in Discord. But it's like YTTV, God's Way TV. So they're more of the religious Jesus kind of side of it.
Gotcha.
Where
That's
I might
cool.
subscribe to the more spiritual
That's
side
cool.
of it,
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Before I forget, before I go, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
It's been popping up in my mind because everybody's blaming, gas prices are going up. And I always remember in the 80s that I was told that OPEC stood for oil producing, exporting cartels. Okay? So, oil prices are going up, and I get pissed, and I'm like, there's a lot of different reasons. We can argue that politically, artificial supply, or, a crash in supply, but I always thought it was oil producing, exporting cartels. And I looked it up a couple of weeks ago, not realizing until tonight that, to me, in my personal experience, is a Mandela Effect. But it's organization of petroleum exporting countries. So I'm trying to explain this. Well, I'm trying to explain this to myself. And growing up in the 80s and, and having a history teachers, maybe I was being told that it was a cartel.
I wonder,
because
right?
we've always been at war with the Middle East, right?
Yeah. Weird stuff like that one to me. I never heard the cartel, but it makes perfect sense. I mean, if we're being real, I think that's probably like the reality of the situation. Oh, geez, Joe, you were the best,
so
man.
It's a tune to your reality.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like the Patriot Act, right? It's like, well, we're going to protect you by removing your freedoms, right? It's like, oh, I got it. Yeah, copy that Patriot Act. It's just like the upside down version of like what this shit really means. Crazy stuff. Hey, we got a call behind you. We got Penny here. You're the best, Joe. Thank you so much for sharing the story. Glitch in the Matrix style. What the hell is really going on, my man? What the hell? We're going to keep talking about it. We're going to keep thinking about it. And you're the best.
Hey, all I know, I'll leave you with this. All I know is this: Tom Brady won the Super Bowl for the Bucks. Have a good night.
Thanks, man. You too.
See you, Joe.
He's from Florida. Okay, go ahead, Pam. We got another call on the line, but what's your take on that whole?
Whoa, crazy.
Right? There's a lot there. So that was the synchronicity.
There is a lot there.
When he called, me a week ago, and a week ago, you and I were talking offline a little bit about doing a show on this exact thing. So he calls me and talks about that, and then this thing pops up with the Tom Brady thing from 38 years ago that is now the future. It's weird. Here we are. Talk about synchronicity.
We have a lot of synchronicity. I do believe that the guy that Joe was talking about when he said that something mimicking God and that we're all connected. I do believe that we are all connected, some sort of collective consciousness. I know a lot of other people have said that. And I do think that this dude, the guy, the people that Joe was talking to, whether they were from a different planet or interdimensional beings, whatever, I think they're onto something. I think there is portals in the sky. I really do. A lot of people say that there's machines in the sky, but we just can't see them. They use a different frequency so that we just can't see them, but interdimensionals are on a different frequency than us, so they can see them, and that everything's overlapping, and there's things around us, like I was saying to you before, that we just can't see. So I think that's a crazy story, but it's totally believable.
It happens to people all the time. Like weird stuff like that happens all the time. It's just how do we quantify it? I think that's really the bottom line here. And here we are, late at night, talking on the internet.
25 to 6.
Exactly. Is it that late? Yeah. Are you okay? You okay?
25 to 6. I'm used to it. Yeah. I've not slept for days, but I'm okay. I'm hardcore, me.
Hardcore.
Us Brits, they don't make.
Hey, you know what?
They don't make them like this over there.
Hey, somebody beat Hitler's ass over there in Europe. It wasn't the French. I'll tell you that. All right.
No, it wasn't. It was our guys. And you guys came in at the last minute and I'm just trying to glory.
No, what? I'm just saying, like there was somebody in Europe that stood up over there, and it was not the French. Let's just say that. All right, let's go.
It wasn't the French.
It was not the French. Exactly. There's some stout folk over there in the UK. All right, let's go to Tim, and this is Tim from Georgia, and we're talking about the Mandela Effect.
I love Tim.
Welcome, Tim.
Is Tim the one that's really feisty?
Tim's the feisty one. Tim, you're on with Mike and Penny.
Tim.
How are you, my friend?
What's going on?
Go ahead, my friend.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
We hear you great, man.
I got something I want to read to y'all. That is, it's from a writer, and she used to do a lot of work with CEPS, the EU, NATO, our militaries, and it has to do with hybrid full spectrum warfare. So I want to read this. It's very brief. It won't take but just a minute. And then I'm sure it's going to be food for thought and shed some light on a lot of what we're dealing with. We are in a world where links to higher genetic expression have been turned off at the will of others, serving the NAA programs that are intentionally poisoning the human body and the earth body. When we have this knowledge about the natural function of the human body, then we can reverse engineer this process and look at it from all sides. What factors can we see in our environment today that could be used to prevent higher gene expression or to turn off the link towards higher genetic expression in the human body? Keep in mind, this has to do with natural sunlight. Some of those factors may appear to be the control taken over the natural access to the sunlight frequencies, such as through mass weather modification in the lower atmosphere. There is a powerful social agenda of social engineering to gain control over thoughts and gain access to the human mind in order to prevent free and open thinking without social ostracism and persecution. There is also a more covert agenda through GMOs to gain control over the function of the human body's protein chains that specifically activate DNA and high gene expression. All these factors have measurable influences upon our body, mind, spirit, and more specifically, human DNA, which is undergoing a program of genetic engineering or modification to serve an anti-human agenda for a transhuman agenda. And this is important, okay? This has to do with your body's expression to natural, your body's your DNA reacts to the sunlight naturally. And what's this have to do with hybrid warfare? Everything, because of the hive mind concept and the fact if you do some research on my video I did earlier this evening, I brought it right up. They're not trying to hide it, ladies and gentlemen, and I proved my point in my video on my show tonight. You can bring it right up and look where the vaccine company's research from 2017, 2016 admits, in accordance with what NATO and our own joint chiefs were trying to tell us about for the last 4 years, the capabilities of all this and the fact of what these RNA modifiers really are, okay? And it has to do with the hive mind concept, and that works in concert with the electrical wave emissions that we have out there, specifically with 5G. Now, those frequencies are specially tuned to this. So people earlier last year kind of hit on this. Different people kind of run into a piece of it here and a piece of it there. But it was just to get clicks and likes for people to watch the show. Nobody really sat down and has looked at this and understand that our government does understand this. there's good people, there's the good guys and the bad guys, right? Well, understand there's a lot of good people out there that they know the corporations and the NWO of the world is doing this. They understand this. CEPS has a forum every year where top scientists and government officials, generals, colonels, you name it, show up, and the people that are representing the respective EU countries, and they discuss these things. And nicely, they do the videos in English, and they put them up on their social medias where you can check them out. And they have these forums, and they talk about these new types of warfare. And I got to tell you, a lot of what people have been experiencing literally for the last 16 years specifically is a direct interaction of neuro-linguistics programming and then all these other applications that they are using, like specifically targeting a demographic of people, say in the city of St. Louis. And if there's already racial tensions there, if I can isolate that group of people on their social media apps that they're using in that area, and that's easy to do because the metadata is readily available from thousands of sources on the web to the AI to make that possible. So I can selectively insert into all of their page feeds whatever type of reaction I want to get out of them. I can supply the fuel or the catalyst or the spark for whatever reaction I would like to get. So you're talking about weaponizing populations in this type of hybrid warfare and turning your own people against your own government. This is where QAnon was so dangerous, the 17th letter of the alphabet, and why people warned about it and why the social media platforms immediately decided to pull the trigger and take it all down was because it was an outside use through a foreign power, through our own citizens, using hybrid full-spectrum warfare. And that's the honest-to-God's truth about this, folks. The research is there. I've been doing small, short videos trying to break it down for people a little bit at a time, kind of give it to you in baby steps about a lot of this because it's a lot to take in. There's people out there with PhDs that still don't have a cognitive view, bird's eye view of all this. And it's because when this type of stuff was worked up a long time ago, it was done compartmentalized, and few people have seen it from a bird's eye view concept. And that is gaining momentum as information is shared around the world by people that are trying to combat the invisible enemy. You just got to know and understand who and what the invisible enemy is. As we heard our last commander-in-chief talk about, he spoke about it many times, but never really elaborated. But if you pay attention to C-SPAN, they discuss on there a few years back about the Mandela Effect and how that had to do with the ripples. And what I'd say about ripples is this. I'll give you a quick example. If I control the AI and I say, okay, I want to stop selling underwear, men's underwear throughout the whole world for 90 days, and then we're going to monitor what men do of every demographic and every race, creed, and color and every religion around the world through their social media metadata, how they react to the shortage of underwear during that 90-day period of time. Is it going to start riots? Is there going to be a severe shortage here but not over here? Where's the surplus going to be at? Are these, looking at, you can tell which religion of people is more apt to buy underwear more often. There's all these millions of things you can learn from all those datas and just understand how that can all be used to social engineer and weaponize and change things, just like the books for the Mandela Effect. This is those are actual tests of this technology from its earlier conceptions, different types of it from years ago. And there's some long-term programs where they're watching things, just like when Facebook hired all the psychologists to start watching the chat rooms and even run Facebook, some of the people, the doctors and stuff that work for it now, because we're getting into something mankind has not done. We're going into places we've never been before. Before 2017, they didn't understand that an average citizen could take 2 say 10 different platforms, create 500,000 bots and create their own army, and then use that army to weaponize thousands of people who would then descend upon the Capitol, some of them with great intentions, some of them with bad intentions, thinking they're on a mission. I want you to understand how if I had 1,000 people that worked for me like that, and we each had 500,000 bots, do you understand where I'm going with this? And from the root source, because 99% of all the experiences people call in and talk about, it's all because of your interaction with one thing that's all in our lives prevalent, and that's the internet, the TV, the wave itself. And that's my point, the signal.
The signal.
Okay?
The signal.
Now, what are they trying to keep us from? What are they steering us away from, and what do we need to be steering to? And our leadership knows this. So there's top defense people been screaming, folks, about this for 20 years. You know? Huh?
Yeah, man. I think I'm with you. I think you're spot on a lot about all this stuff. Now the thing is here, like we're talking about that signal, whatever that signal is, it's coming from some entities, right? Like the elite or whatever, right? Like there's literally, this is the brainwash signal. This is all the things you're talking about, right? We're altering DNA. We're doing all these things. To what end? What do you think the end is here?
Well, okay, getting to the hive mind concept, it's an alien concept to us. Okay, when we look at the way Asians think, the Chinese, going back thousands of years, okay, it's a hive mind concept that we're not used to. It's an alien thought process to us, and that's one of the reasons why we've never had good relations with them throughout the test of time, and one of the reasons why they kept themselves cut off from the rest of the world wasn't so much because of us. It was because of the difference in that alien thought process even back then, whether it was 5,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago, or it was yesterday. And when you look at people that are involved in geopolitics and they say, be careful of any politician that runs out and says, I know how to deal with China. If you're from the West, basically, you're never going to be Chinese to them. But more importantly, no, you don't understand their thinking process. Even if you learn their language, you still don't understand their thinking process. It's alien to you. And why is it alien to you? Because it's a different frequency and it's a hive mind thought process. And that goes in hand with communism. If you really read the real books that are out there and the studies that were done right after Karl Marx came out with it and people attacked it, understand some schools of thought out there. It is a hive mind concept. You're talking about taking everybody, sharing everything for the good of the many, administered by a few at the state. And the state is everything. Everybody gives up everything, all their thoughts, all their love, all their compassion. Everything is for the state, okay? And those regimes run like that because of the hive mind mentality, which is alien to us. So are we at war with aliens? Technically, yes, we are. Absolutely. Once they started introducing these RNA, DNA modifiers and recombinators to their populations, as they're all asking everybody to do now, this is about them trying to literally force humanity into this transhumanism, and they're doing it now. It's not if and when, it's here, folks, and it's staring you right in the face. And all the information's been available online for this for years, and they've been telling you what they're doing. We've seen the good people in our governments argue and try to out the bad people that are going along with this, and it's well known. I mean, the world's on the brink of World War III right now with everything that's happening around the world. We're testing each other. We're flying into each other's airspace. We've seen the ultimate unload of weather warfare. We've seen the ultimate unload of cyber warfare. The only thing it hasn't done is gone kinetic yet. But we're definitely watching a lot of the things we've come across are evidence and proof of these programs and these new types of warfare that have been in development really for a long time since the end of World War II. And then as our technology has progressed, they have adapted it to meet those requirements, silent weapons for quiet wars. And so there is a connection in the science of all this, the spirituality of it, the soul of it, your soul included. And I'll leave you with this. Don't let them take your minds out there, folks.
There you go.
There's real information out there. There's real stuff out there. Do not let them take your minds, because that's precisely what they've been trying to do for a long time. And they've been working overtime at it, and they're very good at what they do.
Yes, they are.
And
I think
the results of that.
I think the basis of this entire show is that, like it's look at all this information out there, try and put it all in front of you, and just be you about it. Like, think. Literally think. Like, put the stuff in front, all the things that are being said, and try and parse out the truth. Your truth. Not my truth, not Tim's truth, not Penny's truth, not anybody else's. We have our own truth. Parse out your own damn truth, but listen to people, because some of the things people say seem hyperbolic, or like we're trying to start wars. It's not that at all. It's like, just please be aware of what the hell's going on, because there's a ton of shit going on. And clearly, if they're talking about it on CNN or Fox News, that's not the shit you should be thinking about at all. Period. Dump it, throw it away. It's garbage. It's propaganda. And here we are trying to find other things that make sense. Tim, we got Penny on. We got a call behind you. You're the best. We only got so much time. Thanks for sharing all the good shit you share. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Have a good night.
Pleasure's ours. Thank you, sir. All right. So before we go to Jay and finish this up, go ahead, Penny. Thoughts on that?
Sorry, I was just saying bye to Tim.
Holy shit, there's a lot there, right?
Yeah, and I knew exactly what he was talking about as well. Is very much spot on with what he's talking about. They actually said that we've been in World War III since the Queen's coronation. The silent weapons for quiet wars is what they've been doing since the coronation in the 1950s. I don't know if you've heard that, but that's what they've been saying. Ever since World War II happened, after that, we've actually been in this silent war. And then you start looking into like the Nazis and how they actually won. But then if you look at the whole war, was it just a stage just to shift things around like they do now? They create wars to sort of shift things around and do what they want. The GM as well, it all makes sense, with what they're doing to the food, and then you've got the trails in the sky. I can't say the word because you'll get a little banner underneath. The little lines in the sky, what are they dropping on us? And they are actually amending our DNA. That's what they're doing. And we all know that the V we can't talk about, the Vajibba jab, is gene therapy. It's what it is. So he's spot on with what he's saying. And all the other things what he says, well, I can't say because I can't repeat it because talking about the number underneath 6 and the G is linked in. What he's talking.
We're talking in code here.
Talking code. I've had so many strikes. I've had 8 strikes in 5 months. So I know exactly what I can and can't say. So I'm not going to risk your channel. So yeah, it's okay. So people need to know as well. So I was panicking when he was talking. I was like, yeah. So the number before 6. 6G, we can say that is ready to go as well. A lot of people don't realise this. That is ready to rock. They're working on 7. They're always a couple ahead of what they're going to do. They haven't actually gone and turned the SG. Let's call it S. They haven't turned it on properly yet as well. A lot of people think that this is it. This is not it. When they go up to 60 gigahertz, that's when we're really going to start to have the shit hit the fan. I can say that because you're not on Fringe FM. And that's when I think the things that are going to go in our arms, the Vajibba jabs, there's something in that the SG, when that gets turned on to full 60 gigahertz, there is something there. And this is what we've been saying for the last year or so. but anyone that was saying it has been wiped from the tube. Isn't Tim on D Live?
Yeah, I did link his.
Yeah,
I linked his D Live both in the.
That's why.
Yeah. I linked it all. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so there's only so much
he won't
you can
be on
say.
YouTube.
Yeah, no, he's not on YouTube. He actually had a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He said everything he said, they just kept taking down. They kept taking down.
Yeah. I can imagine. Just be careful because you don't want to lose your show. We've got to play their games. We're in their house and we've just got to be careful with our words. We've got to go under the radar. The algorithms are really bad at the moment. They're picking up everything that we say. As you know, someone mentioned the 17th letter once, and you got this banner for like 3 months under every video.
Yeah, did you guys notice that? Exactly. So we had to. Exactly.
You came onto my show, didn't you? You came onto my show, and you brought it with you.
Tell the story. Tell.
So, I don't know who mentioned the 17th letter. Who knows? It wasn't you. It wasn't me. Somebody either in the chat or who rang up mentioned that letter, and poor Mike has been. Is it gone now? I think it's stopped now. Was branded. He was fact-checked and branded by the powers that be that he was a conspiracy theorist with the 17th letter proudly displayed under every single video, and it followed Mike about. Mike came to my channel a couple of months ago. We was talking about aliens or something, and I had it underneath my video because Mike had been on there. I was branded with that letter. And it was only on that one as well, Mike. It wasn't on any of my other videos. So, you may get it again now because it's just been brought up. We need to tell Tim next time not to do that.
Yeah. I think he was actually one of the perpetrators of saying, like he'll say it like
naughty.
Yeah, exactly. He does really well with he'll say the 17th letter and then he'll kind of back.
But then he says the letter and then
exactly.
Says, yeah.
But here's the thing though. So. Like you guys know, like rewind 3 years, we're on the record for 3 goddamn years, right? Like literally, we have not been an adherent of that following, right? We've we've avoided it in spite of the entire, quote, like press of the conspiracy community saying that this is what all the conspiracy is about, and it's not about that shit at all. We've avoided most of that, and even so. We still get fact checked by the 17th letter. Actually, you're right, Penny. It just stopped. I think because there were enough people to actually hit the little banner on YouTube and say this is a false fact check. They're not even talking about that. I did it myself every single time, and I think some other people did it, and they finally took them down. But you see what happens, right? They actually they put this stain on you, and then no matter what you're talking about, we weren't talking about anything remotely close. It never even came up, and then so they would fact check us with this, and I was like, what? Every damn time. And then I go on Penny's channel, and she's from the UK for crying out loud. It ain't even a thing over there. But they fact check her channel.
Trust me.
Is it a thing? Okay.
Yeah, they do. Oh, there's some right morons that are still on about it now. They still believe it now. They really do. They just need to just wake up, but it's so frustrating because it was all just complete controlled opposition just to distract people, just trust the scam, we'll be okay, but I didn't say the P word because they'll pick that up.
Yeah,
you're just going to change your letters. Yeah, so we say scam, so I know how to word these things. The algorithms are waiting for the exact wording. One day they'll pick up our words, and then we'll just change them again. We'll just have to keep changing our
I feel
terms.
I feel like we're turning into David Wilcock. You guys watch David Wilcock's stream? He's like the P of the J of the D of the.
Oh, is he really?
He's like, yes.
Right. We'll have to get a tinfoil hat dictionary out so we can all we can all have a little copy at home.
And we'll have to have our own number station that gives new codes every week so everybody knows.
Yeah. It's like it's like the Morse code. It's that ridiculous over here as well. I don't think you guys have this problem. I don't know, but do you guys have to have a press pass, like a journalism card or something when you do journalism? I know that in Canada there's one called Rebel Media, and when he comes over, Ezra Levant. He can't believe that it's like they're asking for your typewriter license back in the East Germany. You know, when you wanted to send a letter and they'd come round and they'd say you need a license to have a typewriter, so you couldn't send any letters out of the country. And he says it's literally like, can I see your typewriter license? You know, you're not allowed into courts or anything here. If you're seen out and about, walking around, especially due at the moment now, they're like, if you got your name, address, where's your little pass, and if you haven't got it, then you are literally flung out. And apparently that's bizarre to you guys over there. I don't know whether you know what I'm talking about.
No, so that's not a thing over here as far as I'm aware, but I'm not a journalist, so I kind of don't live in that world because journalists here are just morons, like literal freaking morons.
Yeah, I'm on about citizen, like citizen journalists, someone that just wants to,
I see.
there's so many citizen journalists here, but unless you're part of this sort of, we all know the journalists aren't real journalists anymore, they're just activists. Unless you're part of that little clique, you're not allowed to actually do any journalism, and that is a major problem here. They are literally stamping down so hard on everything, and like I've said before, they've been taking the media over the last 10, 20 years. It's been very slow, and now they've got the full media. They can do whatever they want now. Like the guy was saying about the apps, how they can choose a demographic and they can just pump that demographic full of what propaganda they want. And unless you're a free thinker, which we're becoming rarer, I think, these days, you were just going to believe that. And we've all we can do is try and tell people, just plant the little seed in their head, and hopefully they'll get thinking a little bit and awaken the dormant part of their brain that's been dumbed down with the idiocracy. Try and wake them up a little bit, And
the fluoride.
Yeah, we don't have that in our water.
You don't have
a lot of places do.
You don't do that there? What the hell? No wonder.
Only where the UK do, but each water company is different. So where I live, our water company doesn't do it, but you go down the road and the next water company does it. So, but I don't drink it anyway. I only wash in it, and even then I don't like washing in it. I don't drink it at all. I don't drink any water from the tap. It's full of all sorts of crap.
Same, yes.
Forget the fluoride. There's copper in it and all sorts.
Yeah, all kinds of like that. All the Prozac they dump in the toilet and shit. it's all in the water.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of ours is like Victorian where we are. It's really like really old piping as well. There's all sorts in it,
Yeah, totally.
We got lime in it. It's just nasty. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
totally.
so but they do put fluoride in a lot of places in the UK though, in the water.
Okay.
So yeah,
I was going to say no wonder you guys kicked Hitler's ass. You didn't have fluoride in the water. But
we didn't probably then.
Oh,
yeah,
probably then. All right. So we got one more call. We got Jay from New York. We're going to take this guy. Jay.
Oh, I like Jay.
You know Jay. Jay. Everybody loves Jay. Jay is everybody's teddy
Everyone
bear.
loves Jay.
My mom calls me the next day. My mom calls me after every show. She calls me the next day. She's like, "Would you give Jay a hug for me?" There you go. We're going to give Jay a virtual hug for my mother. All right. So we got, I'm Mike. This is Penny. Follow Penny's channel, please. Penny Bunny or the Curious Bunny on YouTube. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure we can get some links up in the chat there. Great stuff here.
Yeah, I'll drop some links.
Yes. Thank you. Let's go to Jay. We're talking about the Mandela Effect, the nature of our reality, the allegory of the cave. And Jay, what's up, buddy? What's up, buddy? Let's see. What else do we got? Let's see. I got messages on Discord. I've got all kinds of stuff. Jay, you're on Trouble Minds with Mike and Penny. You're muted, but if you want to unmute, you can be on the show. It's all good. We're gonna finish this up anyway. No, I agree. This is the thing. Matthew says this in the chat. I like how British people say "sar" instead of "saw," right? So like we like how British people speak, and the British people love how we speak. I'm gonna just say it. Tasha. They love that. They love that shit.
That's amazing.
I don't know how amazing that is, but okay. It's a mutual appreciation, let's say, of people that enjoy freedom in some capacity and want it to persist for us and our children and all the future, et cetera, so on. Let's bring Jay back in. Jay, unmute that shit. Get your ass in here. Nope. All right. Let's see what happens. People get scared, man. People get scared. What can you do? Let's wind this up, Penny. I'm gonna bring Jay in, and I'm gonna keep
he gone?
trying.
Oh, sorry, I thought he'd gone then.
Yeah, he keeps popping in and popping out. I'm gonna keep bringing him back in.
I think it's Discord.
Yeah, it's Discord.
They did that to me.
Yeah, it kept knocking you out of the channel for some reason. So let's finish this up. Let's finish this up. We've been talking about the Mandela Effect, the nature of reality, the allegory of the cave, and basically the glitch in the matrix, right? Interesting how it's all kind of basically one and the same, oddly enough, right?
Are you talking to me or was it Jay?
I'm talking to you. Jay's not in. I'm still trying to get Jay.
Oh, sorry. I thought he'd come back. Right, okay. Yeah, it is odd. And this rabbit hole, you go down this one and you end up down another one and then down another one. And the conclusion I come to is still that this is not what we think it is, that they lie. When you start looking at the reasons for why they lie, it's just so vast. I don't believe that we are this little fragment in this huge universe and more, what is there? Just constant space, and we're nothing. Hello?
Are we nothing?
Oh, he's back.
Here? Well, he's
Hello,
in here.
Jay.
He's muted though.
Hi.
He's muted. What's up, Jay?
Sorry.
Continue.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Sorry, I believe that we are, as human beings, that we are much more powerful than what we are told. We are told we are this little insignificant nothing. Like, again, what Tim was saying about the hive mind is spot on. We've got this hive mind where we have to do this, and we've been programmed so much. Even me and you, who are quite awake, we still go by the clock, and you do things by the time, and we're like little worker ants, and we need to. It's really difficult, but if you can get out of that mindset. Tim is. You can see Tim is completely awake, and you can see humanity is just in this hive mind. Who invented time? It's a human invention. To say you can do as you're told and do this and do that. We are so more important than what we think we are, and that's what I think anyway.
Agreed. Good stuff. We what's up, Singeman on the YouTube chat says this. What's the cost of a Krispy Kreme? If you guys don't,
Hello, Syringe Man. I call him Syringe Man. I do.
Syringe Man. If you don't know, look it up. Man. If you don't know, look it up. The price of a Krispy Kreme. Just type Krispy Kreme and hit the news tab.
I have no idea.
I do.
This isn't a Q&A session.
No. If you get the Jib Jab, you get a free Krispy Kreme donut every day for the rest of the year. Here. Yes. They're doing that
here. Yeah. Sorry, they're doing that here.
That's the Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
And here's some weird synchronicity to end all this up. Krispy Kreme is actually one of those Mandela effects. Is it CC Krispy Kreme or is it KK Krispy Kreme? What do you think, Penny?
Krispy Kreme, it's a K, isn't it? Was you saying, what is it, a C or a K? Sorry.
I don't know. But I saw it on the list.
Okay, yeah, it's a K, but we don't. It's actually we don't have it. We do have it here, but it's not as big as you guys. We do have them, but they don't have it's not a massive thing over here. You might get it in the odd store. You guys seem to have it everywhere, don't you?
Not really. It used to be. They expanded really huge, and they realized that people don't need 24 donuts every day. they had to actually contract. So it is what it is. I don't even know if we have one in Vegas, to be honest, because I don't eat donuts because I value my beer calories. Anyway, we're finished here. We're finished here. I don't know what's up with Jay. He's in the chat.
Is Jay here?
He's here, but he's muted.
Come on, Jay.
Yeah, come on, Jay. You can do it.
I was trying.
You can do it, buddy.
Here.
Come on, Jay. You can do it, buddy. Yeah, all right. So,
do it.
Final thought, Penny. What's up with all this shit? Why are we here trying to figure this stuff out? Why are we trying to figure this stuff out? Why does it come down to us?
Because we're all connected. Because we are all connected. We are a collective consciousness, and there is something there that's trying to wake us up because there's too much coincidences and there's too much synchronicity, and I truly believe that there's no such thing as a coincidence. It's just too bizarre. There's too many bizarre things happening lately with me, and like with you and with Joe. You know, how did I even end up on this channel? I literally, my phone turned YouTube on one day. I wasn't even on YouTube. I picked it up. It was on YouTube and it was on your stream. And I was in your live chat and I was like, what the hell is this? And then I just heard you talking. I was like, oh, he's got a nice voice. I want to know what he's got to say. And then I'm here. And that was, what, 2 years ago or something?
Welcome to the show, Penny.
So someone did that? Who did that? Who did that?
Exactly. There's an invisible hand out there, and we're not talking about economics. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And all these people here have been picked. You know, there's a lot of people that I've brought over who I've ended up meeting in a very bizarre way as well. We've all come together, and they tell people, and, you know, we're growing, and yeah, there's something going on. We are the resistance. We are la resistance.
I think so. Do you speak French?
No.
I don't either, but you said that very well.
No, I don't.
Right.
They are supposed to teach us at school, but I just fell asleep.
No sweat. I'm supposed to be Spanish too, but it's just a train wreck. All right, so we do have good news. We got Jay couldn't get on Discord, but he did call in. So let's get a final call from Jay, and let's finish this up. Everybody loves Jay. Everybody loves Jay.
We love Jay.
Definitely. Cool. Jay from New York. You're on Trouble Minds with Mike and Penny. How are you, my friend?
That was so hard. Usually it's very easy. I've got to update my app or something.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
No, it's not you, mate. It did it to me as well. Can you hear me as well, or am I muted?
No, he can hear you.
Oh, okay.
It's the little things that we see in our life, the day-to-days that we need to observe. Why is that so hard? You know, my Wi-Fi's out, whatever. You know, it's just
they're messing with us.
You have to observe. Go outside and look up at the stars and see it for yourself. You know, unbelievable show tonight. Timothy and
it's been cool.
Buddy and everybody. I mean, it's just like it's odd. You know. Let our minds wander. It's beautiful, you know.
I think it's good when we all come together. You know, I think we should get more phone-ins and stuff. Do you interaction?
It's just. It almost seems like they don't want us to talk to each other and think about these things for ourselves. You know, whether it be any of the elephants in the room that we dance around so elegantly with Penny in charge. That was beautiful today, you know. But
oh, you're so sweet.
We're making your point, but you were making your point, but you very eloquently, you know, danced all around the algorithms because that one.
I'm an expert at dancing around
another flag.
Exactly, yeah.
So
I'm clinging on, but it is hard. Penny Bunny is literally 2 strikes now.
Anymore.
Nope, we can't. We literally can't. We were in lockdown. We're not allowed to talk to each other.
Well, yeah, I've been listening to your show. I've been trying to chat with you and stuff like that, but for whatever odd reason, I'm not computer illiterate, you know. I used to be a systems analyst back in the 90s, you know. And I've been away from it forever because, well, whatever. They got in trouble. But it's with a telephone that these kids are doing things with the video games, and we're having a chat room on a video game platform. And that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
All these difficulties that come along with it. Yeah, no, it's really cool because, you know, all of it, everything. You know, Penny, I love you. You know, you're worried about animals and stuff like that. That's cool. I'm worried about animals too. You know, I do my best to try to take care of them. But the thing is, the simple little thing like the hard thing that it was to do for Mike. I love this show. I thought it was great. He's talking about stuff nobody's talking about. He's funny. The people that call in are funny. They give you things that are serious to think about. Whether it's true or not, okay, but what about? What if? You know, do it. Think about it. Running around up in your noggin for half an hour or whatever, or listening to the show, and give it some serious thought. Let your mind work a little bit so you don't get the dementia because you've been drinking beer out of 10 cans for, 10, 20, 30 years. You know?
Cheers, brother. Cheers.
Well, really? Well, I'm serious. I drink my beer out of glass, by the way. But it's just, it's stupid little stuff like that, Don't use the microwave. I worked at an organic farm for about 3-4 years. And they actually did an experiment from Cornell College where they microwaved the water. Obviously, they let it cool down before they fed it to the plants. The plants that had microwaved water did shit compared to the plants that were fed from the ones from the spring.
That's weird,
and
right?
That was an experiment.
So weird.
Rows of potatoes, dude. Like 2 rows of potatoes get the drip tape from the microwave water. 2 rows of potatoes get them from the spring water. 2 rows get them away from the municipal water. It was like a 2-3 year long experiment. I was just the guy running the Italian little rototiller thingy up there, hoeing up the potatoes. But everybody's talking about it, and you're listening to them and learning. It's dumb stuff.
You're saying that? Are you telling us that microwaved water is dangerous?
I would say so.
I do not have a microwave. I do not have a microwave in my house after that 3-year-long experiment.
Holy smokes!
I do not.
And again, right?
None of my food gets cooked in the microwave.
That's not what they're telling us. They tell us the exact opposite of that, right? It's like, oh, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
It falls within safe levels. It's parts per million. No, nobody has any problems. Yeah, you get all of you guys are out there, and you're in the right place. This is a fantastic crew we've assembled. Spread the word, people. Jay, you're the best. A hug from my mother. My mother says, "Would you tell Jay thank you?" Thank you, Jay. Thanks for calling. Thanks for being part of the show. Thanks to all of you. Thank you, Penny.
God bless her.
Thank you. Very nice. Very nice.
Bye, Jay. Bye.
Very nice. Jay, you're the best. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night. We're going to finish the show up. Good input as always. Let's finish. Let's do this, Penny. What about the nature of our reality should we be aware of? And God bless the United Kingdom. Somebody had to kick Hitler's ass in Europe, and nobody else stepped up.
Well, I don't know what's happened now.
It's a long ass time ago, but
at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Where's the men of England gone is what I'd like to know. They're just letting the soy boil.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's the testosterone. It's all the estrogen in the soya. It's done something to our men. So there's not much fight left. There's still some left. There's still some men left, but a lot of them are just giving up.
It exists. It's still out there. The will to fight back, the will to be aware, the will to think for yourself, the will to realize what's happening around us. It's there. It exists. It's not. It's been pushed underground, I think, is part of the problem. So we have to get together and whisper in the night to really get the message across. But I believe it exists.
It's happening.
Yeah, it's happening.
It's happening. Did you hear about Belgium? Just quickly, did you hear about Belgium?
No, what's happening?
As of today, they've had multiple court cases. Has gone, and they've had to. Belgium are cancelling. I think it's next week, or is it 3 weeks? All restrictions have got to end. It's gone through the courts. I'm not sure whether it's the Court of Human Rights. I'm not sure which one it is. Somebody in chat may be able to help. I don't know. But it's all got to go. The masks, the VG, everything, social distancing gone. So there you go.
Interesting. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. See as it develops, and who knows?
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? In Belgium as well. So that's isn't that where the EU's based as well? And
That's right. That's the center of power for the European Union. Yeah.
And do you know that the SG is not allowed there as well? So they look after their own. They've banned SG. Why is that? And why is Trump Towers banned SG?
Yeah.
Trump is not what you think he is.
Yeah, I saw something today. I'll have to verify this. We'll come back and talk about this at some point. But I saw today that they're actually banning his voice on YouTube. Like, you can't even play an audio clip of Trump.
That doesn't surprise me. Mr. Ike as well.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's so crazy.
Yeah, Mr. Ike, you're not allowed to have, but certain channels do, which is why we know that there's a few little controlled oppositions floating around. Because they can get away with it, can't they?
Yeah, the weird part is, so we were getting that 17th letter tag, and we rarely talked about it. Yeah. It's kind of in the periphery, even to criticize it most times. But like, there's people literally that have a channel that did nothing but talked about that in the positive, and they didn't even have the tags.
Yeah,
it was so freaking weird.
And they were monetized.
It tells you a lot about what's going on. Tells you a lot. All right, Penny.
Yes.
2 minutes.
Right, great, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
I'm smashing the music button. Give us the epic Penny outro.
Oh my goodness!
Give us your best Winston Churchill. Go.
Right then, people of.
No. Wait. Why'd you stop? What happened? Hello, Penny. Hey, Penny. When you're going through hell, keep going. What's going on over there? Did you stop? What happened? Oh, she left. I'm sorry, you're not getting away that easy. Back in the chat. Penny, Winston Churchill. We got some outro music. Penny Bunny. Okay, I don't know what happened. All right, we're done. Stage fright. Exactly right. Like when you smash your fist into the podium and scream, "Wake up, people! Wake up!" Oh, there we go. All right. I think she's back. Penny. How are you?
Hello.
All right. Winston Churchill, go.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you fine.
It threw me out. How bizarre. People of Earth. We need to. I'm just going to make this up now. We need to come together. We need to fight the tyranny that is upon us. We need to stand together. We need to turn our TVs off, and we need to open our minds, and we need to wake each other up. Tell a friend about Troubled Minds Radio. Open your mind and open your YouTube and share this channel.
And follow Penny Bunny and the Curious Bunny on YouTube. This is Penny from the UK. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Thanks for being proactive and helping us set the show up. Thanks to Tim. Thanks to Joe. Thanks to Jay. Thanks to everybody who called in tonight. Thanks to everybody listening. This is the end of the week for Troubled Minds. We're working on something. I promise soon we'll have like a fourth show of the week. I don't know if it'll be Friday or Saturday or somewhere other. Anyway, stay tuned. If you haven't joined the Discord, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. Get your ass in here. That's where all the up-to-date information comes. Everybody else, you guys are all the best. Like I said, I'm me. This is Penny. You're you. But together, we're us. And that becomes a very, very powerful thing. Don't discount it. And don't forget, you decide what your reality is. Not CNN or Fox News or any of these other assholes. You decide. Thanks for listening. Be sure, be strong,
Bye,
be true.
Everybody.
Thanks, Penny. You're the best.
Yeah, merch. We need merch.
It's coming. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, guys. Have a great night. Follow Penny Bunny on YouTube. The Curious Bunny. Thanks again. You guys are all the best.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, Mike. Bye-bye.
Thanks for being on the show.
Take care.
Tasha, as we end. And Sherry gets the comment, the bottom is about to fall out of the woo. Have a great night, guys.